Really? It must be a nice gig you got there.
Maybe she's at the COP28
Oh, that's
saving
what I
the
was thinking.
planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could be,
Um,
actually. That's not
yeah.
far-fetched.
So file that away next time somebody catches you saying something intemperate or even doing something that is improper, unbecoming, illegal. I got AI'd. How can you prove that's really me? That's not me. It's a combination of the R. Kelly and the out of context defense. That's not me on that tape.
She just made it a lot worse.
That's AI.
I know,
Could
but
be.
her excuse is worse than what she said. But what I mean, was it really bad what she said? Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, not everybody is a savage. Not all these people, especially the young kids that are here, and some that were unaccompanied, aren't savages. They want a better life for themselves. But people in the black community are pissed. They want some of this. They want the gimme that's, and they're not getting it, and they're not happy about it. So.
Yeah, some of them were out again with that Real America Voice reporter, that Burquam guy, over the weekend, including Pastor Dave Lowry, Mark Carter, who we've introduced you to before, sort of a longtime community activist promoting the interests of ex-offenders, as well as the Chicago Republican committeeman we mentioned before, Devin Jones. They were out, and one of the things that they did was essentially walk around a homeless encampment and offer a little bit of comparison contrast in terms of how the homeless, who are Americans, are treated and the provisions they're given in Chicago versus, of course, the accommodations that are being stood up for people in this country illegally. Here's Mark Carter.
How do you justify leaving the amount of people on the streets that are out here? And you're building tents, warm tents, to house 2,000 illegals? I went from tent to tent. Some of these people are veterans. How do you justify people being homeless at this rate?
More from Chicago Republican committeeman Devin Jones.
We're seeing increased taxes. We're struggling to pay our mortgages. We're struggling to pay our bills. And we have thousands of dollars every month, millions of dollars, $500 million this year to support foreign nationals. And that's coming out of our pocket. It's going to people from another country, from foreign nationals. Those countries have to take care of their people. We just don't have the resources. You know, it's nothing against them, but we just don't have it. You know, we're struggling. This is government oppression at its finest. As a veteran myself, I just talked to a veteran in this tent right here. You know, we're seeing people who have given their all to their country, and we just cast them out by the expressway with the trash. This is unconscionable. And it's unconstitutional. Meanwhile, we have to follow every law. We can't go over the speed limit without getting a ticket sent to our house, but people can violate federal law, and we come in and roll out the welcome mat, give them our home equity, give them our sales taxes. They get the best of our schools. Meanwhile, some like 90% of black children are not reading, writing, and doing math proficiency, but they do it all under the guise of this fake diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. We just need to start voting differently. We need to start pulling ourselves out of these government institutions, starting with the public school system. We need to move on from big government and from the city of Chicago's political machine.
A nice sentiment. I wish it was more popular than it is. By the way, it wasn't just black activists, pastors that were out addressing this issue. It was also a Latino community activist named Raul Montez Jr.
People have been waiting for years, let's say, for example, for to get citizenship, and they don't get anything. They've been here 40, 50 years. They can't get no amnesty. But then these people come, they get everything. They're getting their rent paid, they're getting money, they're getting phones, they're getting etc. What about the homeless people? What about
the veterans?
The veterans, exactly.
Yeah, $9,000 a month. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaker Mike Johnson and the House Judiciary Committee offer a rationale for what is expected to be the impeachment inquiry vote today in the House, 538.
And Dan, I hope you don't fall on that Mr. T starter kit around your neck because it could kill you. But now let's head into the newsroom. And welcome back, Mike Scott. Mike, was it your birthday yesterday?
It was, yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I won't ask how old you are.
That's okay.
So how
I
old
won't
are
tell
you?
you anyway. Old enough to know better. 5:32 on AM 560, The Answer. And we're watching the United Nations this morning. They're demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza on Tuesday. The General Assembly got a two-thirds majority passed demanding the ceasefire. Meantime, the Israeli Defense Forces recovered the bodies of 2 hostages taken by Hamas. This as President Biden is expected to meet with families of American hostages who are still being held captive.
President Biden will meet with the families of Americans who were taken hostage on October 7th. We don't know exactly which families or how many, but it will be the first of its kind when it comes to an in-person meeting for Biden with these families since the massacre took place. After 2 Americans were freed in a November ceasefire deal, less than 10 U.S. citizens are believed to be held inside Gaza. Yesterday, President Biden vowed not to stop until all hostages are home. Now, during a campaign fundraiser, he also told donors that Israel, quote, is starting to lose that support by indiscriminate bombing that takes place.
House Republicans are one step closer to authorizing an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. During a House Rules Committee hearing on Tuesday, Republicans argued the president benefited from the foreign business dealings of his son. Harvard's governing body is giving President Claudine Gay a vote of confidence. Formally voted to keep her on the job in spite of sharp criticism over her testimony before a congressional panel over anti-Semitism on campus. The president of Mexico is sending condolences to the family of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman after the drug lord's mother passed away. Local reports say the 95-year-old died on Sunday. Federal Reserve rate cuts could come as soon as June. That, according to the latest CNBC Fed survey. Larry Doby will be honored with a congressional gold medal during a ceremony at the Capitol later today. Doby was the first black baseball player to compete in the American League in 1947 and went on to be the second black baseball player in Major League Baseball following Jackie Robinson. A teen boy and man are dead here in Chicago following a drive-by shooting in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood. There is no one in custody. Lake County Coroner's Office is working to confirm the identity of a body found in the search for a missing Carpentersville teen, Brissa Romero. Police say the body was recovered by divers yesterday in the same retention pond in Vernon Hills, where the teen's vehicle was recovered on Monday. Former CPS teacher is accused of sexually abusing 3 students over several years. A federal civil lawsuit is filed on behalf of the boys, claiming the abuse started in 2018 inside the home of former Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School gym teacher Andrew Castro. The family of a Chicago woman found dead in a hotel freezer in Rosemont in 2017 is receiving a settlement of more than $6 million. The payout was made public yesterday after the parties first reached a settlement in October. Closing arguments are expected today in the corruption trial of former Alderman Ed Burke. Prosecutors rested their case before the defense called Danny Solis to the stand yesterday. And actor Andre Braugher is dead at the age of 61. The Chicago native passed away Monday after a brief illness. He's known for several major roles, as in the comedy series Brooklyn Nine-Nine and detective work in Homicide: Life on the Street. Chicago-born actor had his breakthrough role in 1989, starring alongside Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington in the Civil War drama Glory. Blackhawks gave up 4 unanswered goals and a 4-1 loss to the Oilers in Edmonton. Last night, Nuggets took down the Bulls 114-106. And the Bulls will induct 13 people into their new Ring of Honor. Michael Jordan headlines the inaugural class of former Bulls that was announced on Tuesday. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today, For free Medicare advice, 630-674-1551. And a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum is looking for something real from the White House.
Let's renew our sense of connection with each other and reinforce the importance of our unity. I think that's really important.
What does that mean? She said nothing. What is she even talking about? You gotta try hard to be this fake.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas and proud customer of Signature Bank. We are a local family-owned business that is known for free refills on all sizes of popcorn, soft drinks, and ices. With over 9,000 heated recliners in 16 locations, we marry the traditions of the past with today's state-of-the-art technology. Throw in a 30-minute guarantee and an after-movie mint, and you have the perfect night out. As we strive to make every guest our priority, Signature Bank does the same with their customers. The team at Signature Bank is interested in taking my company forward. They have all the resources and solutions of the big banks, but they customize their offerings to meet my business needs. The customer always comes first with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you need to ship sensitive or large and heavy equipment, the DC Group in Elk Grove has the experience and expertise to handle the biggest and most complicated jobs. DC Export and Domestic Packing Inc. was founded in 1974 by the husband and wife team of Dominic and Carol Cacciamiglio. Beginning in a building not much bigger than a 4-car garage, the company now boasts 2 Chicago area facilities totaling 100,000 square feet, plus a 45,000 square foot FTZ warehouse in Greenville, South Carolina. Through these facilities and their long-standing agents, they offer nationwide packing, crating, container, and flat rack loading unloading, as well as warehousing, all with heavy lift capabilities. Other products available include custom-made boxes, crates, skids, and corrosion control solutions. DC Transport was founded in 1991 to meet the growing needs of their customers and provide transportation services throughout North America. From container drayage to super heavy haul loads, DC Transport can help you move just about anything. Go to dcexport.com for more info and to get in touch. dcexport.com.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
It's 5:40, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Only one major problem this morning. It's being cleared up right now. I-80 westbound, right at center. An accident is being removed out of your way. We're already seeing delays on I-57 this morning between Halstead and the Dan Ryan merge. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Some clouds this morning. Sunshine later today. A high near 40. Clear and 29 overnight. 25 at O'Hare. 22 in Aurora. 29 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
It's
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The impeachment inquiry vote in the House is expected today. And House Speaker Mike Johnson, who had a lot on his plate yesterday between the announcement, or between providing the rationale for the impeachment inquiry again, and engaging with Ukrainian President Zelensky and the press about aid to Ukraine and border security and the range of issues. But on impeachment, the impeachment inquiry, Mike Johnson explained it thusly.
The impeachment inquiry is necessary now, as Whip Emmer just explained, because we've come to this impasse where following the facts where they lead is hitting a stone wall, because the White House is impeding that investigation now. They're not allowing witnesses to come forward and thousands of pages of documents. So we have no choice. To fulfill our constitutional responsibility, we have to take the next step. We're not making a political decision. It's not. It's a legal decision. So people have feelings about it one way or the other. We can't prejudge the outcome. The Constitution does not permit us to do so. We have to follow the truth where it takes us, and that is exactly what we're going to do. And I'll note, too, I know that people are frustrated sometimes with the time that's being invested in this, but this is the way the founders anticipated that something like this would go. There shouldn't be any such thing as a snap impeachment, a sham impeachment like the Democrats did against President Trump. This is the opposite of that. And that's why people are getting restless, because they want things to happen quickly. If you follow the Constitution and you do the right thing, you cannot rush it. You have to follow the facts.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Your reviews of Mike Johnson's explanation, as well as the methodical moving in the direction of impeaching President Biden, certainly before the fall, because that's where this is going. Johnson is technically right to say this is a legal decision, not a political one, but it's a legal decision in the context, a strategic legal decision for the reasons he outlined in terms of being able to compel more witness testimony, being able to get more documents, be able to answer questions that have been also delineated by investigators within the House GOP. But ultimately, it's a political process, and there's no question that there is an expectation that this will end up in the House impeaching President Biden, because otherwise, the rank and file would say, why would you go through the process in order to exonerate him or suggest that you don't have enough, ultimately come up with a lack of evidence to move forward with impeachment? That would be terribly embarrassing, wouldn't it be?
But it's going to go nowhere in the Senate, the Democratic-run Senate. So that's why some people are, well, why do this in the first place? We need to do it in the first place. It's long overdue. But there's no Democrats that are going to jump on the Republican side and vote to impeach.
And those same people that are saying, why go through it when you know it's going to die in the Senate, they were opposed to the Trump impeachment? Impeachments, plural.
Right, impeachments, right. Remember, how many times was he impeached?
For those who were cheerleading both of Trump's impeachments, just remember how that went, and the explanation for the need to compel more witness testimony, to obtain more documents, to let the special counsel finish their investigation and produce their report. And all that was, protecting our democracy. Mm-hmm. That was within the constitutional power of the House, and it certainly was.
I mean, his first impeachment was because he made it.
So is this. So I just the standard setting that I like to do. For anybody who cheered the Trump impeachment, I'd love to hear from somebody who finds this impeachment inquiry improper or without cause.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our text line is up and running, folks. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Jeff Van Drew is actually a Republican convert. Remember, Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey switched to the Republican Party.
That's right.
Couldn't stomach what the Democrats had become under Biden and under the Socialist Spice Girls and all of the other new Marxists that form the parade of horribles that ushers itself in and out of the White House and Congress on a daily basis. Jeff Van Drew narrated a GOP explainer ahead of this impeachment inquiry vote. First, and by the way, a House Oversight Committee has a Twitter thread that lays out all the evidence that Jamie Raskin says doesn't exist. Jeff Van Drew, first, just a quick summary of the underlying facts to refresh everybody's recollection.
Politician takes action, family gets money, and politician takes steps to hide it. A tale as old as time. And that's the tale we face today with President Joe Biden.
Oh, son of a...
Over the last several months, the Judiciary, Oversight, and the Ways and Means Committee have uncovered evidence of Biden family influence peddling scheme. The evidence includes $15 million in payments to the Biden family, $240,000 in payments directly to Joe Biden, and a threatening WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to a Chinese executive. You have this evidence on top of 4 key facts that have not changed. 1, Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. 2, Hunter was not qualified to be on the board of Burisma. 3, the executives at Burisma asked Hunter to help them with the pressure they're under. 4, Joe Biden goes to Ukraine, gives a speech attacking the prosecutor, which starts the process of getting him fired. These facts haven't changed, and evidence across the investigation continues to grow.
Right. For example, the 20 shell companies the House Oversight Committee has identified, and in that Twitter thread, they've got all the names. 20 shell companies created by the Biden family, most of which were created when Joe Biden was vice president, most of which, as far as investigators can discern at the moment, were just pass-throughs to move money around. Just like Hunter Biden provided no services, these companies provided no goods or services. They were shells. The Bidens and their associates raked in more than $24 million from China, Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Romania between the years 2015 and 2019. So the Oversight Committee has been able to identify to date. Remember Devin Archer's testimony. What was the Biden family business? Devin Archer told us that Joe Biden was the brand. Under questioning, you keep saying the brand, but by brand you mean the Biden family, correct? Archer, correct. When you say the Biden family, sorry to cut in here, I just want to get clarification. You aren't talking about Dr. Jill or anybody else. You're talking about Joe Biden. Is that fair to say? Devin Archer. Yeah, that's fair to say. Listen, I don't think about it as, Joe directly, but it's fair. That's fair to say. Obviously, that brought the most value to the brand. So without the big guy, Mr. 10%, you're not raking in the tens of millions. That's Devin Archer, Hunter Biden's former business partner. Joe Biden recently, again, saying, on top of never talked to Hunter about his business or his business partners, never met with anybody. All lies, damn lies, right? He said that last week. Mm-hmm. Devin Archer revealed to House Oversight Committee Joe Biden spoke to his son's associate by speakerphone more than 20 times, dined with foreign oligarchs and a Burisma executive, had coffee with his son's Chinese associate, all when he was vice president. And that's just what Devin Archer knows. Jordan, Forest Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to think about what's the end game here. So what would this look like January 2025? And I think that if Biden wins or loses, I think the following could happen. First of all, Biden pardons all family members, including Hunter, for any federal crimes. Number 2, Biden resigns. Harris becomes president because they'll have a deal that she'll be president for maybe even a month or 2. She'll get her presidential pension, $200,000 a year plus, and she will pardon Joe. And I think that is a good scenario. And I think people should start talking about that and asking Biden and also press secretaries, is this a possible scenario? Will he do this? He's only been asked about will he pardon Hunter. But Harris, I think, would take that deal. She'll be president for 2 months, and she'll get her pension.
That's fun, fantasy politics. Yeah, sure. Everybody who needs a pardon, line up. Do we have a head count? Because it wouldn't just be necessarily Hunter and Joe. It would also include brother Jim.
Right.
And who knows how many. I mean, anybody else. If it becomes something that where there's potentially criminal exposure, then it could be any Biden family member who received Hunter Biden's ill-gotten gains, if they're determined to be ill-gotten, and that number is at least 11 according to the House Oversight Committee.
Right, including Bo's wife, the widow. She got $34,000 for what? For doing what?
Tom in Blue Island.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Thanks for taking the call. I wanted to comment on what Amy had said, not directly at her, about the fact that Biden would not be convicted in the Senate. If what Mike Johnson said is true, that this is being done as a specific legal proceeding, then the trial in the Senate would be an actual displayment of the facts related to what Biden did, as opposed to the political sham that were the two Trump, if you want to, impeachment trials. And so the fact that he wouldn't be convicted, but the bullies of the left have to be stood up to. You have to prove to them that you'll stand up and you'll fight fire with fire. Otherwise, we're going to keep getting rolled over by them, regardless if it's Trump or whomever down the line.
Thanks for the call. Well, I agree with that. And you heard Mike Johnson talk about the rush to impeachment under Trump, and in referencing as part of his explanation, referencing this impeachment inquiry vote. And so, right, you don't want to come across as vindictive, certainly not if you're the speaker. You want to sort of keep it within the bounds of what we're constitutionally authorized, and in this case, based on the evidence, compelled to do. I think that's right. But for, the hoi polloi, for we out here on the hustings, absolutely. They set a precedent. We said, just be careful about the precedents you set, because they can have a tendency to boomerang on you. And here we are. And this is not like this was invented a la the Russian collusion hoax, or you have to come up with some stilted interpretation of a phone call a la the impeachment one of Trump. This is like a pretty straightforward, not terribly sophisticated, because look at who the point person was, Hunter Biden, not terribly sophisticated, totally reckless, done haphazardly, influence peddling operation that compromised, at the time, the sitting vice president. And who knows, we don't know, this is another area of inquiry, maybe continuing on into his presidency as well. We don't know. That's a legitimate area of inquiry. Whenever what were the conversations if and when the money stopped being sent from all these foreign outposts to Hunter Biden and distributed to Biden family members? Do we have a hard stop on that? Do we understand what those conversations were when those foreign nationals decided that there was too much heat on them and said, sorry, Hunter, we got to at least pause our business, or whatever they said. Maybe they said nothing. Maybe they said we're not doing business anymore. Maybe they said it's a pause. Let's see what happens in 24. We don't know. But we do know what was going on for the decade preceding Joe Biden's presidency, including his time as vice president. And there's a lot more we don't know. And Jeff Van Drew in that Senate Judiciary Committee primer for today's vote laid out the 4 questions they seek answers to. And they're all substantive, and they're all based on everything that has been summarized by these respective committees that have taken various angles into this investigation. Marvin in Burlington, Wisconsin.
Yeah, good morning. I know it's a little off topic, I was told, but that movie by, was her name Liz Miller, on the George Floyd situation? And
Liz Collin.
Yes, Liz Collin, I'm sorry. I mean, it was devastating, in my view, to the news media, to the judicial system, to the political leaders. I mean, if you look at what was going on here on a federal level, it's the same thing that happened in Minneapolis. You have politicians lying, the news media that manipulates the truth and they can't even tell the truth, and the judicial system that excludes pertinent evidence that would exonerate this officer. I sort of knew it all along, but this guy did nothing wrong, and to lie about their training and to allow them only.
I don't want to go down the
right.
George
I know,
Floyd
but I mean,
hole, but at the media, I get your point. Yeah.
Yes. But it's the same group that can't do the right thing, and they continue to look for some excuse in some legal book, obscure and law that allows them to do whatever for political purposes. You can't trust any of them. None of them.
Thanks for the call, Marvin. Just some other highlights from the House Oversight Committee Twitter thread. And again, just replace Joe Biden's name with Donald Trump and Russia and contemplate what the Trump haters and Democrats, I repeat myself, but of course Trump haters not limited to Democrats, never Trumpers, the Bulwark crew, and so many of the others, that this Bill Kristol, who decided to sell their soul to the left because of their hatred of Trump. Joe Biden's Delaware home address listed as the beneficiary address for 2 wires from China totaling $250,000.
Oh.
Trump's Mar-a-Lago address listed as the beneficiary address from 2 wires coming from Moscow. Would that generate any response from the left?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in addition to the other checks, direct payments he got, everything's characterized as a loan, and so on and so forth. 2018 email where a bank flagged serious concern about the China money Hunter received, $40,000, which went into Joe Biden's bank account, his personal bank account. So again, we released a 2014 email, just hypothetical, where a bank flagged serious concern about Russia money that Don Jr. received, $40,000 of which ultimately landed in Donald Trump's bank account. Any issues you think would be raised about that? Precedent setting. The precedent setting of the left. I can't wait to hear, other than there's no evidence, you've got no evidence. That's not going to fly. Can't wait to hear what they come up with to characterize this impeachment inquiry at this stage as illegitimate, given all of the illegitimate things they've done over the last 4 years and certainly the 6 years that Trump was president. Coming up at 6:06, we'll tackle the other big issues that were being bandied about on the Hill yesterday with President Zelensky in town, and that's Ukrainian aid. That's 6:06.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Several issues on the agenda for the Chicago City Council meeting this morning. On the agenda, council members could vote on a change that would delay the start of mandatory paid leave for workers who live in the city. Father of alleged Highland Park parade shooting suspect Robert Cremo Jr. to be released from jail. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Will Hunter Biden show up? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The president's son is supposed to appear for a deposition at the House in a few hours. Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox.
If you've got nothing to hide, if you've got nothing to worry about, if you've done nothing that's wrong, you're going to be be pleased as hell to go because you're just going to tell the truth and you have no worries. I don't think that's the case.
Now, if Hunter Biden does not show, he could face contempt of Congress charges as House Republicans ready a vote today to formalize an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, giving them more investigative power.
Digging into hotly disputed allegations about whether Joe Biden improperly benefited from or used his policies to benefit from foreign business dealings.
That's Fox's Kevin Corke. Democrats call it a political smear with no evidence. Now, today, President Biden will meet for the first time with families of Americans kidnapped by Hamas in the October terror attack and still held hostage. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Israel.
Less than 10 U.S. citizens are believed to be held inside Gaza. Yesterday, President Biden vowed not to stop until all hostages are home. Now, during a campaign fundraiser, he also told donors that Israel, quote, is starting to lose that support by indiscriminate bombing.
Many countries demand a ceasefire as the UN warns of a human catastrophe for Palestinian civilians. After meeting with President Biden and some in Congress asking for more help in the war against Russia, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky tells Fox,
I heard very positive voices
from both parties, and it was very important that they have said that they will support Ukraine.
But a bundled military aid package for Ukraine and Israel is held up in Congress by Republicans wanting to stop a record surge of illegal immigration. Senator John Thune tells Fox.
What we've argued all along is we got a national security crisis at our southern border, and national security starts at home.
At the UN Climate Change Summit in Dubai, a first, negotiators from 200 countries have approved a call for the world to move away from fossil fuels. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, 24 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several issues on the agenda for Chicago's City Council meeting this morning. One agenda item we told you about last week includes a provision that would allow Chicago police officers accused of serious misconduct to have their cases decided privately behind closed doors. Also on the agenda, council members could vote today on a change that would delay the beginning of mandatory paid leave for workers who live in the city by 6 months. It comes just 1 month after approving the measure requiring employers give workers at least 10 days paid leave. Father of the alleged Highland Park parade shooting suspect is expected to be released from jail today after a short stay. Robert Cremo Jr. was sentenced to 60 days. However, the sheriff's office said the crime he pleaded guilty to is eligible for day-to-day good credit, and he'll serve less than 6 months. A federal judge in southern Illinois is inclined to not issue a temporary injunction against the state's January 1 gun ban registration deadline. Illinois State Police Attorney Suzanne Bond told the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules yesterday if the measure is found to be unconstitutional, they'll be looking for what to do from the courts on those disclosures from nearly 7,000 who have already registered with the Illinois State Police.
We would hope that that wouldn't have to come from the legislature. We would hope that in deciding this litigation, the courts would direct the state police on what to do with that data.
Challenges against the ban and registry remain in federal court. One case was looking to delay the Jan 1 deadline. It was heard in the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court on Tuesday, where the judge, Stephen McGlynn, as you heard, is not inclined to issue an injunction, instead urging for swift resolution to the merits of the Second Amendment challenges that could proceed after the new year. A teenage boy and man are dead following a drive-by shooting in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood. 14-year-old Juan Medina Jr. and Mario Medina were standing outside of a home along West 61st Place when a vehicle pulled up and males inside opened fire. There is no one in custody. Blackhawks lost to the Oilers 4-1. The Bulls lost to the Nuggets 114-106. AM 560 news time is 6:05. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager says there's only one choice.
It's not surprising to me the left has destroyed the conscience of a vast number of people. More and more Americans are being, quote, neutral. To be neutral between Hamas and Israel is to forfeit moral seriousness.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Bettenhausen Mobility is the fastest growing authorized Braun Ability dealer serving the Chicagoland area. Bettenhausen offers a complete lineup of wheelchair accessible vehicles with the options to fit all your mobility needs. As a Braun Ability dealer, Bettenhausen Mobility can provide sales and service to all accessible vehicles and mobility solutions on several makes and models. Whether you need side entry with manual or power operation or different ramp options, Bettenhausen Mobility has a solution for you. Showroom open at BettenhausenMobility.com.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties, to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
Well, they dropped it down the stairs and then they tumbled off their truck. But when it fell out in the street, I knew I was out of luck. I got the crash, bang, boom. Should have had it in the staircase blue. Yeah. If you don't want to lose it, put yours in the staircase too.
Yes, Starcase has designed custom reusable shipping cases for everything from irreplaceable trophies to mission-critical scientific equipment. Cases that can take the crash, bang, boom waiting for it when it leaves your dock. Let us build you a case specially designed to protect your stuff. Go to starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR. That's 800-822-7827.
6:08. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Hanover Park. Report of an accident being cleared out of your way. Arlington Drive at Lake Street. Bishop Ford. Stop and go traffic already between 111th and the Dan Ryan merge. Stevenson already 30 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, and you can join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A few clouds to start things off today, then sunshine later on. High today 40. Clear skies and cold tonight, low 29. Sunny tomorrow, the high 49. Increasing cloudiness, mild Friday, the high Friday at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
At 6:09, it's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SCAL. Time to check those temperatures. 25 at O'Hare, 26 Midway, 29 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That was some performance from the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, yesterday in that joint with Ukrainian President Zelensky, wasn't it?
Sure. You think he got the questions ahead of time, Dan?
Well, it was a little frightening when he went off script because things like this happened.
The United States and Congress must, as I asked last week, it's stunning that we've gotten to this point. You know, we need to fully appreciate how it's wrong, how this is being viewed around the world.
Oh, yeah, we do need to appreciate how this is being viewed around the world. The United States must do what, Mr. President? We never heard. Oh, right. Hey, Mr. President, here's the $200 million check.
It's so goofy. He just gave him $200 million. Like they're sitting down by the fireplace and like, oh, here's $200 million.
Biden and Zelensky and the wingback chairs after that grueling presser.
I've just signed another $200 million drawdown for the Department of Defense for Ukraine, and and that'll be coming quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
But I really want the $61 billion in the special defense authorization, and that's where we run into a little problem, or at least Zelensky does, and so do Biden and the congregants of the war party inside the Beltway.
Well, how about no help for Ukraine until we tighten our borders here?
Well, that's basically the position of the House Republicans, much to the chagrin of many Senate Republicans. And this was Mike Johnson's point when he addressed the press to discuss his conversation with Zelensky and the House GOP position on what Biden and the Democrats are trying to do, spread some money around for the purpose of getting the $61 billion to Ukraine.
I reiterated to him that we stand with him and against Putin's brutal invasion. The American people stand for freedom, and they're on the right side of this fight. I have asked the White House since the day that I was handed the gavel as Speaker for clarity. We need a clear articulation of the strategy to allow Ukraine to win. And thus far, their responses have been insufficient. They have not provided us the clarity and the detail that we have requested over and over since literally 24 hours after I was handed the gavel as Speaker of the House. And so what the Biden administration seems to be asking for is billions of additional dollars with no appropriate oversight, no clear strategy to win, and none of the answers that I think the American people are owed. I have also made very clear from day one that our first condition on any national security supplemental spending package is about our own national security first. The border is an absolute catastrophe, and this is because of the policies of this White House and this administration. We had 12,000 illegal crossings on one day last week alone, on Wednesday. We have almost now 280 known terrorists that have been apprehended at the border. None of this counts the gotaways. If you add the numbers up, it's almost 7 million people who have been encountered at the border just since President Biden took office, and at least 2 million gotaways. This is twice the population of my state of Louisiana. Fentanyl is the leading cause of death for Americans age 18 to 49 in this country. Fentanyl poisoning, because it's allowed over the border. We have human trafficking and all the other terrible things. In the last 3 months, October, November, December alone, we've had more illegal crossings at the border than in any entire year during the Obama administration. The American people see this, they feel it acutely, they see all the terrible societal ills that come from this, and it must be addressed. So I've made this very clear, again, from the very beginning, when I was handed the gavel. We needed clarity on what we're doing in Ukraine and how we'll have proper oversight of the spending of precious taxpayer dollars of the American citizens, and we needed a transformative change at the border. Thus far, we've gotten neither. The Senate has been MIA on this. The House passed H.R. 2 6 months ago, more than 6 months ago. It's been sitting and collecting dust on Chuck Schumer's desk. I have told him personally, I've told the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, that these are our conditions because these are the conditions of the American people. And we are resolute on that. It is not the House's issue right now. The issue is with the White House and the Senate. And I implore them to do their job because the time is urgent, and we do want to do the right thing here.
So should House Republicans just take the border money and run, pardon my Steve Miller Band, or should they stick to their guns as described by Mike Johnson? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I got to tell you, excuse me, I like this Mike Johnson guy. Where has he been all of our lives? Because KJP, she keeps blaming Republicans on border security with no backing or no proof, or I don't, But there is a bill, and the Senate's just letting it sit there. But our country's under attack. People don't realize this could be the end of our democracy. I mean, we're letting people come in by the thousands, and he should have included in that 390 unaccompanied minors that came in with that 12,000 little kids.
Well, it's clear that the House Republican position is clear because Democrat Socialist Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut articulated exactly what Mike Johnson said, less eloquently, of course, because he's basically got a room temperature IQ. But Murphy, who's a dutiful apparatchik, just characterizes the GOP demands as draconian. Well, there's the impasse. There is a deal to be made, but Democrats want to throw $14 billion at the border and $61 billion at Kyiv, but they don't want to do anything to change the situation in either place, interestingly. Right? What is the strategy to win? I think that's an operative question, and that was asked of Biden, and he has no idea. He's just reading the prepared answers. But it doesn't seem like the Pentagon and all the generals, Austin et al., have a idea either, because they've never presented one. You know, would be honest at least. $61 billion gets us what? We don't know.
Yeah.
What would it take to actually repel the Russians? What would it take to get the Russians out of eastern Ukraine if that's the goal? Or if that's not the goal, then what is the goal? None of those basic questions have ever been answered, not honestly. It's always we need to keep supporting in order to, and look at all that the Ukrainians have done, and they're fighting the good fight for their country. And that's all true, but that doesn't mean you get to avoid the tough questions about what would it take. And then once you outline what we think it would take, and then we have a debate about, does that make sense for us to provide what it would take? We don't know what it would take is.
312.
And we also don't know, we still don't know really what the objective is. Of course, it's, to not allow Putin to take Ukraine or even to take eastern Ukraine, to repel Putin because he's a rapacious, revanchist threat to European stability. Okay. So is that the objective? Because they're not really clear on that either. While you have foreign policy establishment types like Richard Haass, formerly of Council on Foreign Relations, 2 weeks ago calling for a push on Zelensky to sit down or propose some sort of territorial secessions in order to get peace.
I think he's wearing on the American people. I mean, yesterday he did not get a hero's welcome. Zelensky didn't, as he did the first time he came here on bended knee, begging for billions of dollars.
Well,
because people want to know what they're getting. What is this? Why are we prioritizing Ukraine over our own border?
Well, that's an answer. That's a question that's posed to our political leaders,
right?
Not Zelensky. And frankly, like the Zelensky question on territorial secessions, he was asked that by the press corps. Are you willing to concede any territory to try to forge a peace? And here was Zelensky's answer. Do we have Zelensky?
Yeah, right up here.
Here we go.
The question is about for what we are ready and for what we are not. How Ukraine is able to give up its territories. That's insane, to be honest. We are mentioning God very often. That's not about Christianity. We have our people there. We have our families there. We have children there. That's a part of Ukrainian society. And we are talking about human beings. They are being under tortures. They are being raped, and they are being killed. And those voices which offers to give up our territories, they offers as well to give up our people. That's not a matter of territory, that's a matter of lives, of families, of children, of their histories. I don't know whose idea it is, but I have a question to these people, if they are ready to give up their children to terrorists. I think no.
Yeah, you know what? That answer doesn't bother me. I mean, think about it in an American context. If we were invaded and the price of peace was giving up the eastern seaboard, would we just say, well, yeah, in the interest of peace, we're going to give up the eastern seaboard to a foreign interloper? No. I get the no answer. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that it's America's primary responsibility to ensure that doesn't happen. That's the rub. The rub isn't that that Putin and the Russians are the bad actor here, or that we wouldn't like to see Putin and the Russians repelled from eastern Ukraine. That's not the issue. The issue is whose primary responsibility is it, and if that is the goal, then how is it achieved? Because it's not being achieved the way that this campaign is being prosecuted now. That's pretty clear. That's been conceded by all parties. So Zelensky saying, no, we want the entirety of our homeland back, that doesn't bother me. But the question is, it is our responsibility to provide it. And by the way, so that was fine, but some things that Zelensky should be a little bit more politically savvy about are things like when he says, if there's anyone inspired by unresolved issues on Capitol Hill, it's just Putin and his sick clique. Well, that drew a response from Senator J.D. Vance. Great to see Zelensky has all the nuance of a resistance Twitter liberal. Disgraceful and gross that he's coming to the Senate to apply pressure against Republicans as we fight for more border security. You know, I mean, again, that's in Zelensky's interest to try to, the best he can, manipulate politics domestically in the United States to get what he thinks he needs for his country. I get that. And it's up to Republicans, particularly House Republicans, it would seem, to say no, just as the argument goes, just as Zelensky wants to protect his homeland, and we respect that, we want to protect ours, but Democrats don't respect that. And that's the problem. And Chris Murphy basically conceded the point.
It's very different to say, on top of that funding, we are going to make major changes in law. And that's what Republicans are asking for. They are asking for very severe, very draconian immigration policy changes that they know could not pass if they weren't holding up support for the war against Vladimir Putin.
But isn't that the exact
I just
point?
think that's the difficulty.
Isn't that their exact point?
Well,
This is a moment. It's a crisis. I think many people agree what's happening at the border is a crisis. So this is a moment we got to deal with it at home, and then we're going to help Ukraine too.
Yeah, I think we should separate the two.
Well, of course you do.
You do.
Of course you think we should separate the two, and Republicans don't, because even a dingbat like Poppy Harlow can understand that 2 million gotaways is a crisis, that the complete lack of border control is the antithesis of providing for our national security. Of course you want to separate the two. Chris Murphy is interested in protecting Ukraine against further Russian incursions, but he's not interested in protecting the American people against incursions from people from all over the world.
162 different countries and 280 known terrorists picked up so far. But also, too, guys, Governor Abbott said there's 20,000 more on the way to Chicago. Just wait until Katie Hobbs starts busing them here, because that system's about to break. They have to get rid of those people. I mean, there's nowhere for people to go in shelters.
Well, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, just back from D.C., had this to say about what New Yorkers can expect, New York City denizens can expect from the federal government in terms of help.
Help is not
rescuing Eric Adams from his own policies, just like BLM Brandon wants and Jelly Belly want to be rescued from their policies.
Did not see the level of urgency. I'm just not seeing the White House and their colleagues up there understanding that we need a decompression strategy. Cities should not be carrying the burden of a national crisis. And when I left D.C., I did not walk out and say that the cavalry is coming.
Yeah.
He said help is not on the way.
Yeah, because this is a long-term play for the Democrats at the federal level. And, what's going to happen in the cities? Well, they're not going to turn Republican. So who cares? We don't care about Eric Adams. We don't care about BLM Brandon and their parochial problems. This is a long-term play for us. 2 million? We got at least a year left. Maybe we can get another million in. Monica and Lyle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I just happened to be listening to Mark Levin yesterday, and the thought didn't occur to me until he said it. But, we told the Ukrainians, get rid of your nukes and we'll protect you. That was France, Britain, and the United States. We signed this treaty. Okay, great. But then when we give them weapons, supposedly we're hamstringing them by telling them A, B, and C, you can't do this. And then we're just giving them enough to tide them over. So my question is, are they being hamstrung as opposed to just outright losing on their own?
Well,
the money that they are getting. That's just a thought.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, part of that it's hard to know because no one is arguing that $61 billion is going to be determinative. It's going to turn the tide. I haven't heard anybody make that case.
No.
So I have to believe that it's not the case.
That's such a random number, too. Why not 61 billion?
And so this is where the lack of clarity coming from the foreign policy establishment, the national security establishment, all these people that are busy surveilling Americans and monitoring Catholics attending Latin Mass, they can't get their heads around a particular strategy that they can outline in general terms, or at least put a price tag on, that would give them the ability to say it's more likely than not that if we did these things, we could turn the tide in Eastern Europe. Who's got that plan? Who's making that case? As I said, Richard Haass is as much a mouthpiece for the foreign policy establishment as anybody, and he's already conceding defeat. Time to get to the table and cut Ukraine up.
A lot of text messages. Dan and Amy, did Churchill travel the globe collecting cash during World War II in sweatpants?
Okay.
Different times. And where's the accounting for the money that we've already given them?
Yeah, right. But the crux of it is the juxtaposition between our border and Ukraine's, and how uninterested the Democrat Socialist Party is in ours as compared to theirs. And that's a question they should answer too. The draconian policies, I mean, you don't expect anybody on the CNN News quotation marks desk to have the wherewithal to ask a follow-up, but when somebody just characterizes generally what Republicans have proposed as draconian, which part of what they're proposing is draconian? Which part of previous policies that existed, by the way, during the Obama administration as well as Trump, like Remain in Mexico, which parts of those which part of the policy proposals, the policy changes Republicans are demanding specifically are draconian? Let's go chapter and verse. And let's see if the American people agree with Chris Murphy and the Democrat Socialists. Clay, Libertyville.
Morning, Dan, Amy. You know what? This whole situation with Ukraine is a typical U.S. government corruption playbook. Create a problem, pose a solution with military funding, implement all their people, and then they all rake in the millions. We saw this play out in the Middle East. Now we're seeing it play out in Ukraine. NATO, through the U.S., created this problem. NATO pushed since 1949 up into Russia's borders. They implemented Zelensky, a nice pawn. Now they're posing military funding as the solution. Now they're all raking in the millions and billions.
Yeah,
There's
something to that, but I wouldn't go quite that far. Thanks for the call, Clay. But I'll tell you one thing, though. It's a bad look. Zelensky meeting with American defense contractors. Yeah. And him posting, together we can create more jobs, generate more strength, provide more opportunities for both. Create more jobs.
I know.
Defending your nation from a foreign invader isn't a jobs program for Ukraine or Russia. Yeah, ultimately a reconstruction of Ukraine, and sure, it's just a bad look. I mean, it just like smacks of postcard from the military-industrial complex in D.C. I get it. He's just thanking defense contractors for the provision of the weapons authorized by the U.S. government. Yeah, I get it. But for somebody who was on the cover of Vogue and is always in his fatigues, he's obviously marketing savvy enough to know this is just a bad look. And the Biden administration should be similarly savvy. A foreign president is sitting around yucking it up. I mean, yucking it up is too strong, but sitting up, talking with American defense contractors about what he needs and so on and so forth. This is a responsibility between governments. It's
not a photo op.
It smacks of who exactly is making the calls here. Is it the defense contractors putting pressure on the Pentagon, or is it the Biden administration, the foreign policy establishment, or can you even distinguish the two? Which came first, the defense contractors or the foreign policy establishment? It's a bit of a chicken and egg. Whichever look. Coming up at 6:36, we'll continue a conversation about these topics, both impeachment inquiry as well as the wars in which America is involved with Bill O'Reilly at 6:36.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Another day older. Here's Mike Scott.
This morning, it's 24 degrees at 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Israeli media reporting that Palestinian militants have ambushed Israeli troops in a dense Gaza City neighborhood, killing at least 9. Hamas is putting up what looks to be stiff resistance in areas that Israel has isolated and pounded with airstrikes over the last 9 weeks. A teenage boy and man are dead following a drive-by shooting in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood. Chicago police tell us a 14-year-old and another man were in the 3500 block of West 61st Place when a gray vehicle pulled up and 2 males inside opened fire. Both victims suffered gunshot wounds. There is no one in custody. A former Chicago Public Schools teacher is accused of sexually abusing 3 students over several years. Federal civil lawsuit filed on behalf of the boys is claiming the abuse began in 2018 inside the home of former Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School gym teacher Andrew Castro. Castro was charged in June with sexual assault. The suit accuses CPS of failing to protect the boys from abuse. The family of a Chicago woman found dead in a hotel freezer in Rosemont in 2017 is receiving a settlement of more than $6 million. The mother of Kanika Jenkins filed suit after her body was discovered in a walk-in freezer of the Crown Plaza Hotel a day after she went missing from a party at the hotel in September of 2017. Closing arguments are expected today in the corruption trial of Florida Alderman Ed Burke. Chicago actor Andre Braugher is dead at the age of 61. Chicago native passed away Monday after a brief illness. Braugher earned an Emmy for his work as Detective Frank Pembleton in the 1990 series gritty cop drama Homicide: Life on the Street. He started acting at St. Ignatius College Prep before heading to Stanford, where he graduated in 1984. Blackhawks lost to the Oilers 4-1. While the Bulls lost to the Nuggets 114-106 last night. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says there's a reason.
Well, the people in the region would make really a lot of sense, right? Does Egypt or Jordan want these people? Do the people of the Middle East want the Hamas sympathizers? Okay, so you don't want to do that because you know that the people of Gaza have been radicalized throughout the year.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Napleton Mazda of Naperville would like to invite you to come in for a test drive during the Season of Inspiration event going on now through the end of the month. Take advantage of remarkable savings like 0% APR financing for 60 months on a brand new 2024 Mazda CX-5. Save on over 700 new Mazdas at Napleton Mazda of Naperville and napervillemazda.com. Offer to qualified buyers through Mazda Financial Services. 0% APR equals $16.67 per $1,000 finance. Expires 12/31/23.
Untuckit has everything he needs this holiday season. Shop now and save big with our biggest sale of the year happening at untuckit.com or at any of the 80-plus Untuckit stores. Untuckit shirts are designed to be worn untucked. They keep him looking sharp and feeling comfortable. He'll love to unwrap one of our iconic button-downs, super soft flannels, or cozy sweaters. Get them while they last during our biggest sale of the year. Shop Untuckit's biggest sale of the year happening now at untuckit.com or at any of our over 80 stores.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scan, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
6:38 on AM 560, The Answer. It'll be an interesting sports day. Apparently, longtime New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick will leave the organization at the end of this football season. That after 6 Super Bowl wins over 2 decades. We'll follow that for you as we follow the traffic this morning. A service of Boost Infinite. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com for the new wireless technology that gives you 3 networks for the price of 1 and better service at a lower price. Kennedy inbound 21 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. We're also seeing delays on the Stevenson stop-and-go traffic, Harlem to Kedzie right now, 35 and climbing into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan stop-and-go inbound in the locals, 47th up through 18th, 25 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Some clouds and sunshine throughout the day, high near 40, mainly clear, 29 overnight. It's 24 and partly cloudy at O'Hare. Your next news update comes your way at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. If you think things have quieted down on Ivy League campuses in the wake of the firing of Liz McGill at Penn or the controversy surrounding Claudine Gay at Harvard, even though she survived so far, here's what's happening on the campus of Columbia University. Students, probably faculty, probably administrators in the hundreds. Yeah, it's a very celebratory atmosphere for pro-Hamas Ivy Leaguers. And certainly Claudine Gay surviving and staying as Harvard president, that's not going to change that much. I mean, basically, they had lost control of these campuses long ago. It's just now, after the terrorist attack by Hamas on October 7th, You're getting reaction from billionaire donors, and then obviously the catastrophic testimony from these university presidents last week, and so forth. But the nature of these institutions, and whether or not anything can be done to significantly change the culture on campus in America. Why don't we start there with our friend Bill O'Reilly, because he had some choice words in the direction of Claudine Gay that I saw the other day. Bill O'Reilly, of course, is the host of No Spin News, weeknights 5 p.m. Chicago time at BillO'Reilly.com. He's also the author, of course, the best-selling killing series, the latest being Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts, and perfect holiday gift, perfect stocking stuffer for the ones you love if you haven't already picked it up. Killing the Witches, The Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. That's the latest in Bill O'Reilly's killing series. Bill, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Good. You basically asked, somewhat rhetorically, but then provided an explanation, what's the difference between Claudine Gay and a neo-Nazi?
Well, my analysis was that if neo-Nazis on any college campus, not only Harvard, threatened Jewish people, they'd be arrested. All right, so there are in America people who adhere to a fascist philosophy, and they've been labeled neo-Nazis. So if there's a club, the Third Reich Club or whatever, could never exist, but the analysis still holds, that Ms. Gay and all the other college presidents would forcibly shut it down and expel the students, and they might even be arrested for hate crimes. But if they are Palestinians or progressive Americans who sympathize with Hamas, which many of them do, shockingly, then it's okay. So how do you explain that? How do you justify that? Can anybody justify it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you think she got to stay and the other president got kicked out?
Well, that's complicated. I'm a Harvard alumnus, as you guys may know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't want to bring that up. I didn't want to embarrass you.
No, I'm proud of it, and I know some of the alums have disowned the college. I haven't done that. My experience in the mid-'90s, 1990s, was excellent. I learned a lot, and I met a lot of good people. But for the past 20 years, like a lot of other institutions, not only academics, it has been controlled by progressive far-left people, of which President Gay is one. And they worship at the altar of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What that means is if you are white, we don't really like you very much. That's what that means. And I can back that up by enrollment stats and college acceptance stats have plummeted for white males in all of these institutions.
Right.
And that's why they want to get rid of the SATs. They want to get rid of standards of in high school of any kind of academic proficiency. Or they just want to admit the people that they sympathize with.
Yeah, but isn't that also why Liz McGill can be taken out and Larry Summers can be taken out at Harvard for things that were much less offensive than what Claudine Gay offered in that House committee, before that House committee, but Miss Gay cannot. I mean, she's a black female and she's untouchable.
Correct. At Harvard.
At Harvard.
Some other places she might have some problems. So the progressives who control Harvard, and these are the board of trustees, in the department heads, 97% of the professors at Harvard, the people who teach there, are self-described liberals. So this is a monolithic move, all right? And there's no dissent. If you dissent, you don't work there. You don't. So they protect her. They're protecting her. But here's the story. I'm going to advance the story, okay? This is the turning point in America for the progressive movement. No longer are they going to get a free pass. And the media is trying. The media is trying to give them a free pass because they've given them a free pass for 2 decades. It's impossible now. When you throw in with killers, and you guys will remember I wrote the book Killing the Killers, which are terrorist groups, of which Hamas is one of the most powerful now, when you side with them by saying, oh, it should be a ceasefire. Well, wait a minute. If there's a ceasefire, then Hamas is going to come back and do it again. They say they will do that.
Right. They're bragging about it.
Why don't you believe them? So anybody who says, I got to be a ceasefire, they're siding with Hamas, the killers. Now, I submit to you that even though we live in a screwed up country right now, most Americans are rejecting that. And just like Black Lives Matter, it's the same thing. Once Black Lives Matter started using the $100 million in donations they received after George Floyd to buy lavish real estate for themselves, once they did that, it was over for them in the mainstream. The same thing is going to happen with the progressive movement in America.
That's an interesting theory. I'm not quite so optimistic. Let me tell you why I'm not. Let me see if you buy this comparison. Christopher Wray and Claudine Gay are basically the same person. In other words, Christopher Wray could go be the president of Harvard, and Claudine Gay could go direct the FBI, and those institutions wouldn't change at all, and pretty much nobody would know the difference, because they're just part of a club that transcends their identity, ironically enough, white, male, Republican, black, female, Democrat, but both Ivy League educated and so on and so forth. They're part of the managerial elite that are in control of all of America's cultural, civic, and educational institutions. And so I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to dig those cultures out, root and branch, from those institutions than just making personnel changes.
Well, we'll know next November, won't we?
We will. Yes, we will. Speaking of, but I mean, do you have that concern about a pervasive managerial elite? I mean, Michael Lind at University of Texas has written eloquently about this. Joel Kotkin has as well.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're going. I don't see Gay and Wray as similar. Wray is a basic bureaucrat who's looking out for himself. If the prevailing winds were conservative, Wray would be conservative. Gay is hardcore. That's the difference, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Although it's interesting, too, that just to show you how entrenched this ideology is, I mean, Gay has another problem, in addition to her testimony, that Liz McGill didn't have, which is credible accusations of plagiarism coming from academics on the left and right. Carol Swain, as well as Ann Williamson from University of Miami, Ohio, poli-sci professor there. She said that, told the New York Post she was angry when she read the excerpts of Gay's work. It does look like plagiarism to me. So now you don't even have to abide any sort of academic integrity standards if you have the right intersectional score.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares about this in academia anymore. I mean, Joe Biden was one of the most prolific plagiarists ever. I mean, the guy was
just ask Neil Kinnock.
Entire speeches,
yeah, right.
and nobody cared. And yeah, you can theorize that at Harvard, a premier college in the world, academics, but Harvard's an interesting place. Did you guys know the first president of Harvard in the mid-17th century was the chief witch hunter of Salem? Increase Mather, the guy responsible for partially responsible for executing 20 human beings, was the first president of Harvard. So the school has always had, let's say, a flamboyant history.
That's generous.
And when I go to Cambridge, I was there about 2 months ago, terrorizing the people at the Kennedys.
They call security on you?
Security loves me.
Oh, good.
Anybody who's in a position to enforce protections loves me.
You're right. You're full employment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. So they can call security all day long, and they go, "Yeah, we'll be there in 10 minutes." But if it's O'Reilly, So anyway, The problem, though, you're right, Dan. I mean, I like your analysis. You're thinking about this in the right way. We're starting to, as a country, to embrace things we've never embraced before, and things that go directly against our Constitution. Now, President Gay is entitled to due process, and that's why I wrote Killing the Witches, because there was no due process in 1692. If some 12-year-old girl pointed and said, you tried to make me sign the devil's book, you had a rope around your neck in 10 days. Well, now you don't have due process either. And I believe in that, and Gay denies it. But the overwhelming evidence, and Amy pointed it out rightly, is that she did crib. But believe me when I tell you, they couldn't care less up there about that.
Oh, I believe you. No, I definitely believe you. What was your? We were talking about it just before you joined us. What was your assessment of Biden's performance yesterday with Zelensky, and also taking the occasion to be critical of Israel at the same time?
Right after you hang up from me, I want you to read my message on BillO'Reilly.com. Anybody can do it, and I hope people will go there every morning and read it. So Biden, this is a scandal yesterday. Obviously, it was a weak press conference, and nobody learned anything. He read the answers to the question from Reuters. You can see it. I'm going to use it on TV tonight on the No Spin News.
Oh, yeah. I mean, clearly he got all the questions ahead of time, obviously.
Yeah, and that's corrupt.
Right.
Journalists never did that before.
Never.
I mean, I shouldn't say never, but if they did it, it was, on the sly. Okay, but now the guy from Reuters stands up, Trevor, and reads the question, and Biden immediately, the head goes down, doesn't even look at Trevor, and reads the answer off the sheet.
Yeah.
What the deuce is that?
Hey, Bill, I know. Hey, do you think he's going to make it to 2024, to the election?
No, we talked about this last time I was on. I don't think he's going to make it. I think the Hunter thing is going to get worse and worse and worse. And he obviously is having trouble in physical and mental areas. And I think, but I was wrong. I thought he would be out now. I mean, he's so bad, second worst president in our history. But he's hanging tough. But I do not see him, but I could be wrong.
Bill O'Reilly is the host of No Spin News, weeknights 5 p.m. Chicago time at BillO'Reilly.com. And again, pick up his latest in the Killing series for the holidays. Nice gift. Killing the Witches, the Horror of Salem, Massachusetts. Bill, thank you as always.
Listen, guys, thanks for having me. And one last plug, get all 13 Killing books in a bundle on BillO'Reilly.com for Christmas. All of them together. Best-selling nonfiction book series of all time. So I hope people think about it. Thanks for having me. I hope we can talk again soon.
All right. Thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. We wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right. Are you a business owner or department head already planning for 2024? If you're like most businesses in Chicagoland, you've probably had a challenging year with sustaining revenue, hiring new recruits, and keeping operating costs at bay. Maybe you've had a great year, though, and you want to build the momentum. Whether your business faces obstacles like financial setbacks, fierce competition, IT nightmares, or unforeseen crisis, it's not about the challenges you face, it's how you overcome them and the people you partner with. With decades of C-suite experience from the consulting team to over 25 years of managed IT services, Turnkey knows small business. They know how to reduce your costs, grow new revenue streams, and more without having to hire an on-site professional. So set yourself and your business up for success. Let Turnkey show you how. Turnkey is Chicago's small business champion. Visit turnkey.pro and start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro. Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
If you're interested in securing a mortgage, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. During COVID, rates dropped into the 2s, which helped mortgage professionals have record years. But things took a drastic turn in January of 2022. Rates started the year in the 3s and ended in the 7s, which not only eliminated qualified buyers, but also forced many mortgage professionals to leave the industry. Rates were in the 7s at the beginning of this year and are currently around 8%, which is further reducing qualified buyers and putting more pressure on mortgage professionals to get out of the business. Team Hochberg isn't going anywhere. The next time you need a mortgage and can't locate your previous loan officer, call Team Hochberg 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners, and we're not going anywhere. Give us a call now at 855-56david or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire Infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, should we have empathy for residents of Des Plaines looking at 30% property tax hikes, or residents of Tinley Park looking at 200% assessment increases? My column at johncastnews.com. We will discuss at 7:07.
And a graphic example why men shouldn't be wearing jewelry. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Danny Solis takes the stand in the Ed Burke trial. A man hit and killed by a semi while fleeing police on Chicago's west side. A vehicle of a missing teen found in a Vernon Hills retention pond. Blackhawks fall to the Oilers, and WINT Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Their loved ones are still held hostage in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and today President Biden will meet with the relatives of Americans kidnapped in the Hamas terror attack in October, and Fox's Kristen Goodwin reports.
The meeting comes as relatives of those held captive have been renewing calls for the Biden administration and the Israeli government to relaunch negotiations on a deal to help free more hostages from Hamas captivity. There have been no official negotiations over a new deal since the collapse of a 7-day ceasefire in the region.
Now, yesterday, the president warned at a fundraiser, Israel is risking losing global support as the UN demands another ceasefire, warning of a catastrophe for Palestinian civilians in Gaza. But Israel's foreign minister just said the war against Hamas will continue with or without international support. A military aid package for Israel and Ukraine remains held up in Congress the day after Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, went to the Capitol and the White House.
We've shown that our courage and partnership are stronger
than any Russian hostility.
Now, Republicans keep holding that aid up, demanding more border security amid a new record illegal immigration surge. Senator Lindsey Graham tells Fox,
the likelihood of another 9/11 grows every day. So I want to help Ukraine. I will help Ukraine. But to President Biden, you're AWOL as commander-in-chief in protecting our border.
House Republicans plan a vote today to formalize an impeachment inquiry for President Biden. Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox,
we want to get to the truth. We're not doing the impeachment yet, and if we do it, we're going to have our ducks in a row, but we want to get to the truth.
They're investigating if President Biden was involved in his family's overseas business dealings while he was the vice president. Now, he says he wasn't. Democratic Congressman Pete Aguilar says,
it's painfully obvious that they are trying to hurt President Biden politically to help President Trump get reelected and distract from the fact that they have accomplished nothing.
Next hour, Hunter Biden is supposed to show up for a deposition in the House investigation. America's listening to Fox News.
24 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several issues around the agenda for the Chicago City Council meeting this morning. One agenda item we told you about last week will include a provision that would allow Chicago police officers accused of serious misconduct to have their cases decided by a third party privately behind closed doors. The father of alleged Highland Park Parade shooting suspect expected to be released today after a short stay in jail. Robert Cremo Jr. was sentenced to 60 days in jail last month after reaching a plea deal. The crime he pleaded guilty to is eligible for day-to-day good credit, and he'll serve less than 1 month. A teenage boy and a man are dead following a drive-by shooting in the Chicago Lawn neighborhood. 14-year-old Juan Medina Jr. and Mario Medina were hit by gunfire in the 3500 block of West 61st Place. There is no one in custody. The Lake County Coroner's Office is working to confirm the identity of a body found in the search for a missing Carpentersville teen, Brissa Romero. Police say the body was recovered by the divers yesterday in the same Vernon Hills retention pond where the teen's vehicle was uncovered late on Monday. A former Chicago Public Schools teacher is accused of sexually abusing 3 students over several years. Federal civil lawsuit filed on behalf of the boys claims the abuse began in 2018 inside of the home of former Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School gym teacher Andrew Castro. Attorneys for the students claim Castro groomed them.
He would take them out to the bowling alley. He would take them out to movies. He would buy them gifts. He introduced himself to the family of these children and gained their trust by offering to do work.
The suit accuses CPS of failing to protect the boys from the abuse. The family of a Chicago woman found dead in a hotel freezer in Rosemont in 2017, receiving a settlement of more than $6 million. The mother of Kanika Jenkins filed suit after her body was discovered in a walk-in freezer in September of 2017. Chicago sports. Blackhawks gave up 4 unanswered in a 4-1 loss to the Oilers in Edmonton. Reggie Jackson led the Nuggets with 25 points and a 114-106 takedown of the Bulls at the United Center. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. With decades of C-suite experience, Turnkey knows small business. Their team of veteran consultants know how to reduce cost and grow new revenue, all without having to hire on-site pros. Visit Turnkey.pro, Turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees a country lost.
The people who want business as usual want us to remain indebted because I guess 33 trillion isn't enough. The managed decline of America, who have surrendered their belief in the United States to the idea that, well, we're the problem.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
It happens every year. Winter. Delivering and receiving supplies and getting people where they need to go can be impossible. Keeping your business doors and gates working properly to keep out the extreme weather is a major concern. Your business can't afford a loss of income or productivity. Think ahead this winter and call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. for your commercial door maintenance and security tune-up now. You can't always plan when your doors break down, and it always seems to come at the least convenient time. Industrial Door Company will ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification and give you advice on how to increase the life of your doors. Go online to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call anytime, 847-258-5620. Their team will be there before the extreme cold weather causes financial losses for your company and assist in your time of need. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We're watching delays on the Tri-State accident, right center lane blocked. It's on the southbound side of 294 between North Avenue and St. Charles. Bishop Ford accident, right lane block inbound between 154th and Sibley. On the Dan Ryan main line this morning, 22 minutes in, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. The Stevenson right now at 45 and climbing from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Eisenhower right now 40 minutes into the old post office. And the Kennedy right now is at 25 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A few clouds to start things off today, then sunshine later on. High today 40. Clear skies and cold tonight, low 29. Sunny tomorrow, the high 49. Increasing cloudiness, mild Friday, the high Friday at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Partly cloudy and 24 officially at O'Hare. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Last week, we talked about this story that aired on ABC 7 Chicago, where the I-Team.
Jason Knowles and the I-Team. I like Jason, though. It's good. It was a good story, but he was really late to the party, if you know what I mean.
I'm glad that you find some use for him. But that's fine. I mean, it's a fine story for what Chicago Press Corps is able to do, which is just provide sentimental angles to everything, and especially public policy. Root causes, dot connecting, that's not their business. And so it wasn't in the story that I'm referencing. But it was interviews with residents of the Cook County portion of Tinley Park in unincorporated Rich Township, one of the areas comprising this year's triennial property tax reassessment in Cook County. And the residents there were wailing about the whack they were getting. For example, one resident, Lisa Markowitz, got hit with a 210% increase in the assessed valuation of her home.
That would give me a heart attack.
And of course, and then you have an idea what the implication will be for your property tax bill next year. Schiller Park, Des Plaines, middle-income residents that got reassessed last year are feeling it this year, 30% increases in their property taxes. And people are talking about having to move to Indiana, having to sell their home, not knowing where to go, maybe losing their home. And so this got me to thinking some more on the topic after we discussed it, and I penned a piece that John Cass generously published at his johncassnews.com site. The outside of Morning Answer, the sort of last repository of common sense in Chicagoland. And so my question is, the one that I ask myself, and I'll put to everybody, is should we feel empathy for Lisa Markowitz and others similarly situated? Should we feel empathy for the residents of Schiller Park and Des Plaines, as well as the Cook County portion of Tinley that are looking at the prospect of property taxes they can't afford next year?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. I met somebody yesterday, a gas station on Arlington Heights Road over here. He moved here. He owned a similar shop, a gas station, with some trinkets to sell in North Carolina. And now he owns one in Arlington Heights, and he's trying to sell it. And I said, why do you want to move? And he said, I need to go back to North Carolina. North Carolina, his property taxes for the year, Dan, $1,500. Same shop, same square footage. Here in Arlington Heights, $47,000 a year. He's like, I had no idea. And I said, well, you didn't study that before you moved here? And he said, no, I didn't. And now I'm not making any profit, and I have to sell this business, but nobody wants to buy it.
So the story is poor, unsuspecting Illinois families being fleeced by politicians. Is that the story? I'm asking. Is that the story? Maybe it was the story in 1970, is what I argue, when the Illinois Constitution was rewritten. But when did that stop being the story? Maybe it's still the story today. Maybe you think it's still the story today. I don't. As I write, I'll just give you sort of the thrust of it. At some point over the past 5 decades, this story of property tax, usurious property taxes that effectively serve to methodically confiscate people's property value from them. This stopped being a story of politicians fleecing their constituents and became a story about the residents of Cook County and ultimately greater Chicagoland playing Patty Hearst to the Chicago Democrats as Symbionese Liberation Army. Because this was all occurring, as we discussed last week, against the backdrop of 2 federal corruption trials, one coming to its conclusion that would involve Ed Burke, and the other not yet started that would involve the longest-serving House Speaker in American history, Mike Madigan, who were 2 of the most prolific property tax appeals attorneys in the state. Billions in property tax relief they secured for their corporate clients, mainly, or high net worth private clients. And who did the residents of Des Plaines and Schiller Park and Tinley Park and everywhere else just about in Chicago, who did they throw in with?
The Democrats. I mean, that's one thing that Jason Knowles, I wish he would have asked him, like, well, how did you vote last time around?
It's more than just voting, but that it certainly includes that. The what you're hearing now is How could this be? Where is somebody to do something about this? Where are the authorities? The same authorities that are prosecuting Madigan and Burke, finally. After 54 years in office for Burke and just about the same for Madigan. Longest-serving House Speaker in American history, longest-serving alderman in Chicago history. They got him.
Well, they put tax codes in place that then they built a company around defending them. It's so weird.
Where are the authorities, I hear? The Cook County judges were slated by Madigan and Burke that you ratified in Cook County. I'm talking to Cook County residents. And again, the spread to the collars. The Cook County state's attorneys they selected, you elected. The U.S. attorneys selected by U.S. senators, you elected, backed by Madigan and Burke, drawn from the legal arm of the system they erected, with perhaps the temporary exception of Peter Fitzgerald. So, again, I'm supposed to have empathy for all the Joe Punchclocks and Sally Housecoats who haven't noticed how all of those people have been so absent for so long. But I really didn't know, they say. Well, as I would contend and did, willful ignorance of the law is no defense to punishment, and neither is willful ignorance of the system. And so comes the punishment. The two longevity lords who bilk tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars out of the system are going to spend their 80s or whatever time they have left in federal prison maintaining appearances, talking about the U.S. attorneys. Wholly unimpressed with them, too, for my lifetime. And the Joes and Sallys I mentioned will be whittled down to nothing by a system they spent their adult lives serving in one form or the other. So I'm just having a really hard time feeling much empathy for them. Is that heartless of me? People losing their homes? I guess it would be heartless if I would have heard more of a hue and cry over the last 25 or 30 years that I've been around about the superintendent's salary, the stratospheric increase in K through 12 spending, which is the local the unit of government primarily responsible for the spiraling property tax increases. Particularly that unlimited spend against the results the government schools produced. What about the defined benefit pensions that the public sector unions wired up for themselves? You didn't know about this? I mean, I can only speak for myself and a handful of politicians that made this an issue that I know about. Well, if they did, I know about it over the last 30 years because there was an effort. I mentioned before, ran a multi-million-dollar campaign in 2018 specifically on property taxes. Nobody paid particular mind. No Republicans were certainly elected because Trump was in office. That's what they say, because the Republican Party was absent. But, you know, the Republican Party, the one minor quibble I have with Cass and his bipartisan combine moniker, which I otherwise like, I mean, it is instructive, but it's a little misleading, too, because it suggests that the combine is an equal partnership between Democrats and Republicans. And what you really have over this time period is the Republican Party is a servant of the Democratic Party, but the hierarchy is clear. Politicians like Jim Durkin, George Ryan, I mean, you know, from George Ryan to Jim Durkin, lots and lots of Republicans. Let me go, please. From Jim Thompson to Jim Durkin, the Jims, and so many in between. the Republican Party consistently put forward people that were there to serve the Democrat paradigm, and they did. And again, some would have to be taken out because they fell out of favor with the system, or because they were sloppy. George Ryan was sloppy. Blagojevich fell out with the system's administrators, so they were taken out. And then the U.S. attorneys look like they're corruption busters, but they're not. They're the legal arm of the system. So legislators, a handful of them who've come and gone and tried to make the case, tried to move legislation, tried to provide public awareness, still do, like Jeannie Ives with her breakthrough ideas. And what kind of audience do they get? What kind of audience do I get? What do the suburbs look like? What does suburban Cook County look like in terms of its office holders? And then you're going to say, but, it's terrible what's happened to me. You know, the system that everybody participated in has just beaten out all the empathy out of me, I guess. There are no victims here, I argue. There's a few winners, and they include Madigan and Burke, even though they're going to go to federal prison. Their golden years after, I mean, God knows how much money
Fleecing
that
us
they've. Well, did they? I mean, who are they fleecing? That's my point. How did they? You know, at some point, when you drive the getaway car in enough bank robberies, then you're not being fleeced. You're party to it. Whether or not you get anything from the principals or not is immaterial. So there's a lot of losers in the system, but there's no victims. There's a difference. Red in Elmwood Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning.
Morning.
You know, the real thing is this Burke, what does he do? Guarantee the property tax reduction? Who's he working with? There's the real question, that he can guarantee a property tax reduction? Otherwise, these people wouldn't be going to him. Who's he working with? There's the real scandal.
Thanks for the call, Red. Well, I mean, what do you mean who he's working with? You mean who's working for him in these sinecures like the Cook County Board of Tax Appeals, with perhaps the notable exception of Dan Patlack for a time in the Cook County Board of Tax Appeals. You know, so there's exceptions along the way, but that they could have no impact on the system when there's no opposition party and there's no opposition that's mustered among the electorate to support politicians who wanted to form an opposition party. At every opportunity, the Republican Party, with very few exceptions, Peter Fitzgerald being one, every opportunity, just about, they threw in with the Democrats, whether they want to sort of acknowledge it in those stark terms or not. I didn't know, I didn't think. No. Sorry. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe some people think that's unfair. I don't. And, you know, I was in the arena for a lot of that time. I saw a lot of people brought into the system that desired to have the benefits of the system and didn't really want to be seen as an obstacle to the system's operation. And so they fell in. Up and down whatever constitutes the leadership of the Republican Party over the last 30 years. And the same, frankly, at the rank and file level, at the township organization level, at the school board level, at the municipal government level, at the county government level. And so now they come for you, and you want me or someone to stand up for you, and you don't see anybody there? Too bad.
Yeah. text message, Dan and Amy, no sympathy, and you FIBs need to stay out of Indiana. Too many here, and you're already screwing up the place.
Dave in Bristol, Wisconsin.
Hey, guys. Good morning. I just wanted to lend, support to exactly what you're saying, Dan. Growing up in Elgin and Oak Park and watching it, everything you say is true. We generally have no one to blame but ourselves, being, brainwashed and being so comfortable with the system to not see what we really need to do. And on a complimentary side, I really love the way you explain things in your diction. I get up every morning very eager, to hear how you really put things into perspective, and I completely agree with you. If I would have known you were running for office, I would have happily voted for you.
Thanks for the call, Dave. Mike, Franklin, Tennessee.
I love you talking about real estate taxes. People in Cook County, Illinois, they are so stupid the way they hand money over to the politicians. We evacuated to Franklin, Tennessee, and tell people in Illinois what my real estate taxes are in Tennessee. They ask me, is that per month?
Yep. No, I know. It's true.
Thanks for the call.
It's shocking because people do pay that,
And what do you hear from Cook County residents? The majority. It's definitely the majority. Maybe it's a supermajority. What do you hear from them?
I just think that when people buy a house here in Illinois, that their realtor or their mortgage broker doesn't discuss, you're going to be paying X amount of money a month in property taxes.
Really? People
I don't think that they don't have that conversation.
Conversation? You're not sophisticated enough to look at the property taxes on a house you're going to buy? Come on. Well, some people maybe are not, but I don't think that's it. They provide alibis for the politicians. Oh, no. They couldn't have done that. They were with me last night, officer, all night. No, not my legislator, not my representative, not my senator. Oh, no. Not my governor, not the governor I voted for, not the Cook County Board president I voted for. No. Not my local school board.
No.
Not my
They care about our
superintendent.
children.
No. Maurice Berwin.
Yeah, Dan, we have a political party issue on both sides. We need a viable third party. I always say that I listen to your show because I'm a conservative Democrat by today's terms. I might as well just become a Republican. But there's no way these guys should be as old as they are, and no one should get into politics and make as much money as they do when they leave. It's fascinating that these guys can get into politics and leave being millionaires. Some of these guys get into it, and they're in it for decades. And also, before I hang up, I want to give you guys a compliment for something you said weeks ago about, particularly you, Dan, your dedication to education. And the fact that there's an 87% graduation rate in Illinois, but the reading scores here are 35% or something. Your dedication to education is pretty amazing. And as someone who grew up in the inner city, I applaud you for that. Education, as I say all the time, saves my life. Keep up the good work, and I personally would love for someone to bring a lawsuit regarding that to the state of Illinois. It is baffling to me that is a law to go in. I would love for someone to do a class action suit because education saves my life. I stood on the corner of the west side of Chicago and in the Tower of London because of education. And so I don't know how that goes. Like, someone should do a class action suit. It baffles me that no one has audited the records. Thank you, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for the call, Maurice. Well, the problem, with Maurice's suggestion about like a viable third party, we don't even have a viable second party.
Right.
So
we have to solidify that one first.
Well, where are the constituents for the viable third party? There's no constituents for a viable second party, and there's no interest that I see.
Dan, this text message is great. Dan Proft has the same exact perspective as I do, but he can articulate it also much better than I can. I want to plagiarize him and become the new Harvard president.
That is the pathway. Mike and Skokie.
Hey, if you look at all of corruption that's gone on with property taxes, how many of these cronies are these, aldermen, village trustees, village managers and stuff are not paying their fair share in taxes on their $500,000 homes and stuff? Maybe Dave Savini, Pam Zeckman, or Chuck Gowdy ought to do some type of expose on that. Maybe that could lower some of our taxes, because I guarantee you they're not paying their fair share of taxes on their $500,000 home. I guarantee you Burke and Madigan, I'd like to see what their property taxes are on their well-to-do homes.
Thanks for the call, Mike. You know who should do that story? Ben Bradley.
Oh, stop. Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Too close to home. Coming up at 7:37, we'll talk more matters economic, but at the global, macro, national level with Steve Moore, 7:37.
But now let's head into that newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
7:32 here in Chicago. We have sunshine right now. And House Republicans in Washington expected to vote today to authorize an impeachment inquiry into President Biden.
It is obvious that House Republicans will have taken another step toward what many believe is an eventual impeachment of President Biden, passing the resolution to do so out of the House Rules Committee. And now a floor vote on the resolution is expected. Now, this is part of a multi-pronged impeachment probe that's digging into hotly disputed allegations about whether Joe Biden improperly benefited from or used his policies to benefit from foreign business dealings, especially those involving his son Hunter and other family members as well.
House Speaker Mike Johnson claiming that the matter is a legal decision and not a political one. The Department of Education is launching a probe into 6 colleges over alleged ethnic discrimination on campus. The department saying Stanford, UCLA, Rutgers, UC San Diego, University of Washington, and Whitman College were all under investigation for alleged violations of the Civil Rights Act. Israel has started pumping seawater into the sprawling network of tunnels used by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. U.S. officials say the massive pumps were put together in recent weeks to flood the tunnels that the Hamas terrorists use. Several issues are on the agenda for the Chicago City Council meeting this morning. On the agenda, council members could vote today on a change that would delay the start of mandatory paid leave for workers who live in the city by 6 months. It comes just 1 month after approving the measure requiring employers to give workers at least 10 days paid leave. The father of alleged Highland Park parade shooting suspect Robert Cremo III is expected to be released today after a short stay in jail. Robert Cremo Jr. was eligible for day-to-day good credit. He'll serve less than 1 month. Blackhawks lost to the Oilers in Edmonton 4-1, while the Bulls lost to the Nuggets 114-106. The news is a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. A check of traffic and weather's on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees only one end to the war in Israel.
As this war continues and more Palestinians are getting killed, the question is on the table. Is the cost of the human life of Gaza worth the eradication of Hamas? And I'm sorry, moral clarity tells us it is. This is war, and if they don't stop Hamas, they're going to do it over and over and over again.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Announcing a one-and-done Christmas gift for her that is sure to make you a holiday hero. So smooth, so seductive. It's the new Smooth Seduction Satin Nightie and Robe from Pajamagram. Curve caressing, glides against the skin. The Smooth Seduction Satin Nightie and Robe are designed to make her feel amazing and drive you wild. But that's not all. Right now, Pajamagram is offering a Smooth Seduction Satin gift set. It's the sultry robe with the sexy nightie, plus a free satin eye mask, all elegantly wrapped in a satin keepsake bag. That's 4 deluxe gifts. quickly delivered to your door, ready to go under the tree. So if you want to win the holidays, go to pajamagram.com today and get the Smooth Seduction satin nightie and robe with free eye mask and a keepsake bag. But hurry, order today before it sells out. That's pajamagram.com for the Smooth Seduction satin gift set.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family.
7:38. Check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Outbound on the Edens, delays this morning, Pratt to Niles Center. It's 24 minutes outbound to Lake Cook Road. The Kennedy Inn, about 40 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound, 70 minutes, an hour 10 from 390 into the old post office. Jam solid through the avenues. Stevenson right now inbound 47 in from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan at 30 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sun throughout the day, a high near 40, mainly clear and 29 overnight, 24 and partly cloudy at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Lael Brainerd is Mr. 10%, the big guy, President Biden's top economic advisor. She was on CNBC yesterday responding to the news that inflation ticked down slightly to 3.1% year over year. And she said this.
I feel like the underlying trend lines in inflation are good. We've seen grocery prices come down. We've seen prices at the pump come down. We've seen some of the core areas moving back down to pre-pandemic levels.
No.
So, again, I these are people with great economic credentials. You understand that 3% 3.1% increase is not a decrease. So what's happening is the price increases are slowing in terms of pace, but it's still an increase.
Right.
And under Biden, food prices are up more than 20%. Gas prices just under $1 a gallon. But okay, Lyle, whatever you say. What does Steve Moore say? Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author, joins us now. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Prices are coming down, the administration says.
So, the prices are not coming down, but the rate of increase is coming down. You explained it very well, Dan. The problem for the Biden administration is now we have basically a 20% increase in prices that are cooked into the books. In other words, you'd have to have deflation to get back to the prices we had before Biden was president. And you've had a situation now where roughly 23 of the last 26 months, people's paychecks have not been growing fast as the cost of living. And that means people have to do either two things. They have to either cut back on their spending, which most Americans are not doing, or they have to go further into debt. And they are doing that. We all, as collectively as a country, are massively going into debt. Most of your listeners probably know that our credit card debt is now $1.1 trillion. More and more Americans, there's a report out last week that more and more Americans are tapping into their 401k plans early to get cash so they can spend money. That's a terrible way to get cash because you're going to pay a huge tax penalty for taking money out before you reach retirement age. So, yeah, there's a lot of financial stress on middle-class Americans. And, as we've talked about so many times, Amy, when you're paying $8 for a box of cereal, that kind of thing puts real financial stress on middle-class America.
Well, with food prices being up, as Dan just mentioned, 20%, that's just going to be the new normal now?
Yeah, I mean, get used to it, folks, because now, look, we did get some good news on the inflation front that at least, we're not looking at 9% inflation like we had last year. I mean, those were hugely problematic numbers. The inflation rate has come down. We're still at somewhere between 3 to 3.5% inflation, depending on how you want to measure it. And the Federal Reserve Board target for inflation is 2%. By the way, let's not forget that when Trump left office, the inflation rate was 1.6%.
Right.
That's a lot. So it's twice as high as it was when Trump left office, and it reached up to 9%. You're still paying $1 to $1.50 a gallon more for gasoline. You're still paying a lot more for groceries. You're still try to get a airplane reservation for the Christmas vacation. I was just looking at I can't believe how much these airlines are charging. So it's everywhere.
One other thing you can do, though, is you can move to Argentina. How about this Javier Milei out of the gate, man? He is leaving a trail of fire behind him like Ghost Rider. He eliminated 12 of the 21 essentially cabinet-level agencies right out of the gate. Yeah. Now he rolled out a measure to completely balance Argentina's budget in 2024. An austerity program that would be equivalent of $1.4 trillion in spending cuts in this country, letting go of every public employee who has been employed for less than a year, abolishing all government publicity and related spending for projects. Appointed government positions are cut by 34%, no more transfers to local governments, suspension of public infrastructure, which is riddled with corruption there, reduction of energy and transport subsidies. I mean, this guy is, sounds like he's the real deal, at least he's trying to be.
Yeah, so I just want to correct you on one thing. Shame on you, Dan. You called this an austerity agenda. No, it's a prosperity agenda.
Yeah, right. Yes, right.
You're using the language of, oh my gosh, we can't have austerity. They say austerity for government, and that gives them cardiac arrest. But this is an amazing experiment that's going on there. They also want to dollarize their economy, which would be really smart. Because right now, they have like 250. You think we got inflation problems here, Amy? They have a 250% annual inflation rate. So the peso today, the Argentine peso, is almost not even worth the paper it's written on. And so, but this is cool. I mean, if he pulls this off, Argentina could become another economic powerhouse. At one, you go back 50 years ago, Argentina was a very prosperous country. And of course, then they made the mistakes of putting the Perones in, the Peronistas. And by the way, just as an aside, how is it that somehow Eva Peron became some kind of cult hero? She was the worst. She impoverished the Argentine people. Now we make, Broadway plays out of her as if she's some kind of a hero. But that's how the left has infiltrated every cultural institution in America. But no, I'm excited about what's happening in Argentina. And we need to do a bit of that here. We need to really take a sledgehammer and a chainsaw to this budget. I'm so sick, Dan. They're talking, here we're running, a $2 trillion deficit, and they're arguing about, can we afford $20 billion cut for this? No, you got to put an extra zero on those cuts. I mean, we got to get very serious about getting this economy, standing up again, and that's by really substantially reducing this spending. And incidentally, I'm also in favor. Where are you guys on this issue of the Ukraine funding? Because I'm either not for funding for Ukraine, or if we are going to fund Ukraine, I think we have to pay for it. With every penny of it has to be coming out of other government programs, Dan.
Yeah, I agree with that. That would be easy enough to do. $61 billion is chump change in the grand scheme of things. So I agree with that. And also, I mean, of course, the predicate to even having that conversation is policy change with respect to border security. Otherwise, I'm not even interested in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just what I'm saying is that, they're talking about how they're going to save, pennies when they need to be saving dollars and tens of dollars, in terms of magnitude of what they're talking about cutting. I mean, we're looking at another $2 trillion of debt added this year. And, we're supposed to be in a recovery. Here Biden says, everything's so good for the economy. Okay, if the economy is so good, why are we throwing $2 trillion?
Well, here's the thing, though, that you're not considering, the green energy revolution that's upon us. I saw this blurb in your Unleash Prosperity newsletter. We're finally starting to see dividends from the $5 billion that President Biden allocated to build charging stations.
Yeah, this is an amazing story. So what was the amount of spending again? I forgot what.
$5 billion?
$5 billion. That's chump change too, but $5 billion, and they authorized this a couple of years ago. You know how many charging stations there are that have been paid for? One.
Oh,
they
boy.
found one. They spotted. It's like, where's Waldo? Where is it? It's in some town outside of Columbus, Ohio. They finally installed one charging station. Lord knows what happened to the other $4.95 billion. But the other, story.
Well, the revolution takes some time to get going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other story is, last week at the climate change, I think it's over, right?
Yeah, it ended.
The climate change. 80,000 people, by the way, went to that and drank, champagne and ate caviar and talked about how much they care about the climate while they flew in on their private jets. You couldn't even get into Dubai, in the UAE with the airplanes were so full. And anyway, they have the Biden administration said, we're not going to build any more coal plants in the United States, no more. So that's 20% of our energy they're going to wipe out. And then they declared war on natural gas because they said no more methane emissions. So that's another 40%. So
how are they going to build those charging stations then?
Well, but they said that no oil, no coal, no gas.
Yeah,
that's the goal. But they don't know how they're going to pay for it.
No
pay
cows.
for it, like how are we going to live?
Yeah, don't forget about the cows.
We get 60 to 65% of our electric power across the country with coal and with natural gas. This country was built on coal, and so now they want to wipe those out, and so that takes away 60. My math is right. That takes away over half of your electric power supply. At the same time, these morons, these pinheads, want to put the entire transportation system on the electric grid. I mean, if you massively increase the demand and massively reduce the supply, you're going to have. You think California has blackout problems? Folks, when you wake up in the morning, try to, on a cold December morning, try to turn your heat on. There's nothing going to come out. I mean, this is really scary stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, it maybe the problem with the charging stations, only one being built in 2 years with $5 billion in financing. Maybe they made a mistake when they enlisted the construction crews that were building affordable housing in L.A., because it took them 17 years to build 49 housing units. They're supposed to be at 450,000 at this point. I think I saw the number was something like $600,000 per unit for these affordable housing units, the 49 that have been built after 17 years. So again, the wonders of government-directed, private sector, public sector partnerships, which we love to talk about.
Oh, I got another one for you. Remember they've been talking for the last 10, 15 years about building this bullet train from Los Angeles to San Francisco. And so it started out, it was going to cost they had a ballot referendum, and the experts said, it's going to cost $20 billion. And the taxpayers in California, they're already broke, but they said, okay, yeah, we'll pay $20 billion for that. Oh, no, a couple of years, it's not going to be 20, it's going to be 40. No, not 40, 60, 80. Now it's up to over $100 billion. And guess what? The train isn't going to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco because they can't get it over the mountains there. And so it's going to go to two towns that nobody even lives in. I forget the Merced and some other places that aren't even close to San Francisco and Los Angeles. Great planning, guys. Over $100 billion for a train that doesn't go to the two destinations that you said it was going to. That's government at its finest.
I'm still waiting for the bullet train that was proposed 15 years ago in Illinois to go from Chicago to Toledo, because the problem in Chicago is you can't get to Toledo fast enough. And
no, the problem is you can't get out of Toledo fast.
Well, who goes to Toledo? I mean, no offense.
We all would if we had that bullet train. That's the whole point. Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author. Thanks for joining us, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
All right, do you have cold floors? Does it sting your feet when you get up in the morning? Well, guess what? The problem is in your basement or crawl space. And Permaseal can help. They can make your basement and crawl space warmer and therefore your upstairs more comfortable. With their product, Permafoam Insulation, Permaseal can spray that insulating foam between your floor joists, which not only increases your energy efficiency, but guess what? It'll stop insects, rodents. It's mold and mildew resistant. What's not to love? Rim joist spray foam, they call it. It can be installed in just one day. So give our good friends at Permaseal a call to schedule a free evaluation. 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or visit permaseal.net. Permaseal, known best for being better.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
All right, we're doing it. We're getting closer to our goal to feed children in Latin America and the Caribbean. We've partnered up with Food for the Poor, obviously, because they're a reputable, faith-based, nonprofit relief organization. They work directly with the partners on the ground, and they operate feeding centers, and that is a start, especially when moms wake up and don't know how they're going to have food. Food for the Poor is there for them. We're asking for a one-time gift of $80 that could feed 2 children for 1 year. A gift of $320 can feed 8 children. And the number to call for that is 844-862-4673, 844-862-4673, or simply visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
And we're also doing the Business Benefactor Program again this year with our holiday campaign with Food for the Poor. We've had a bunch of businesses sign up, and we rely on leadership from the business community to meet our goals when it comes to the provision of our portion of the provision of resources to provide that food for starving families in places like Haiti. Morrison Security, Salvi Law of Lake Zurich, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, Gatto Industrial Platers, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, Second Option Health Solutions, and many more. We appreciate their support. To join them in supporting this good cause and also benefiting your business, join the Business Benefactor Program by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. If you do that, we here at AM 560 will give you 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves, prime broadcasting hours, Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio, and at the same time, you'll be providing life-saving food for more than 62 children in Haiti for an entire year. Wow. To become a business benefactor, just call our general sales manager. Her name is Ann Jeanette, and her phone number, 847-472-8951. Again, enroll in the Business Benefactor Program by calling our sales manager, Ann Jeanette, at 847-472-8951. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Napleton Mazda of Naperville would like to invite you to come in for a test drive during the Season of Inspiration event going on now through the end of the month. Take advantage of remarkable savings like 0% APR financing for 60 months on a brand new 2024 Mazda CX-5. Save on over 700 new Mazdas at Napleton Mazda of Naperville and napervillemazda.com. Offer to qualified buyers through Mazda Financial Services. 0% APR equals $16.67 per $1,000 finance. Expires 12/31/23.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now, and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, there's at least one professional sport that is on Team Trump. That's 8:08.
And later, is it appropriate to ask a woman if she has an ARP card? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A former CPS teacher accused of sexually abusing 3 students. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
They expect him to show up. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In fact, Republicans say Hunter Biden better be there in a half hour, complying with their subpoena to testify at a deposition. Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox.
If it was me, if it was anybody else, you would go because you know damn well if you didn't go, you would be held in contempt of Congress, which in itself actually carries a prison sentence.
Now, they're investigating Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings and if his father was involved while vice president, now leading today to a House vote trying to formalize an impeachment inquiry. Judiciary Committee Chair Chairman Jim Jordan just told Fox it would give them more investigative power.
We think it moves faster so we get the facts for the American people. And again, I already think the evidence is pretty darn compelling, but there are a handful of people we still need to talk to and some documents we still need to get.
Now, the White House says there is no evidence linking the president. They call it a political smear. House Democrats say it's an attempt to help former President Trump. Today, President Biden will meet with the families of some Americans Hamas still holds hostage along with Israelis in Gaza.
Perhaps most notable is some of the comments the president made just yesterday. He was at a campaign fundraiser here in D.C., which have generated quite a bit of attention. The president appearing quite critical of the Israeli government and their military tactics since the October 7th attacks. Biden was quoted as saying they're starting to lose that support by the indiscriminate bombing that takes place.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. Israel's foreign minister said this morning the war will continue with or without international support. We just got another inflation update showing no price increases last month at the wholesale level.
So we came up zero there. And then the year over year, again, a little bit lighter than expected, up 0.9%.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni, this the day after the report showed consumer prices inflating less. The Federal Reserve expected to leave interest rates unchanged today in a meeting. There's a big Tesla recall this morning. Nearly all the electric vehicles it has sold in the U.S., more than 2 million of them. The problem, a defect in the Tesla autopilot system following a series of crashes. America's listening to Fox News.
24 degrees. We'll call it mostly sunny for the moment. 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Several issues on the agenda for the Chicago City Council meeting set for later this morning. One agenda item we told you about last week includes a provision that would allow Chicago police officers accused of serious misconduct to have their cases decided by a third party privately behind closed doors. That's part of their ongoing union agreement. The agenda item seeks to change that item. Father of the alleged Highland Park parade shooting suspect expected to be released from a Lake County jail after a short stay. Robert Cremo Jr. was sentenced to 60 days, but the sheriff's office confirms the crime he pled guilty to is eligible for day-to-day good credit. He'll serve less than 1 month. Lake County Coroner's Office is working to confirm the identity of a body found in the search for a missing Carpentersville teen, Brissa Romero. Police say the body was recovered by divers yesterday in the same Vernon Hills retention pond where the teen's vehicle was recovered late Monday. Former Chicago Public Schools teacher is accused of sexually abusing 3 students over several years. Federal civil lawsuit filed on behalf of the boys claims the abuse began in 2018 inside the home of former Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School gym teacher Andrew Castro.
He would take them out to the bowling alley. He would take them out to movies. He would buy them gifts. He introduced himself to the family of these children and gained their trust by offering to do work.
Attorneys for the students claim Castro groomed them. The suit accuses CPS of failing to protect the boys. Blackhawks lost to the Oilers 4-1, while the Bulls lost to the Nuggets 114-106. AM 560 news time is 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Tesla is recalling more than 2 million vehicles across its model lineup over concerns the autopilot system can be misused by drivers and that it may not have adequate controls in place to ensure drivers are paying attention. The recall covers some Tesla models 3, S, X, and Y manufactured between 2012 and 2023 and comes amid a 2-year probe by U.S. auto safety regulators into crashes involving the driver assistance technology. The Fed wraps up its final meeting of the year, and it's expected to leave interest rates unchanged when they make their announcement this afternoon. And a key measure of inflation comes out this morning, the Producer Price Index, or PPI, which is a measure of inflation based on the prices producers receive for their goods and services. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Charlie Kirk explains how to win in 2024.
When you see a smaller and smaller radical group of people make decisions that harm the welfare of your nation, you are willing to pursue other political choices. No more despair. Let's get to work. I hear all the time, but Charlie, they're going to steal it and they're going to stop it. Get to work.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
As a business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80% of businesses put to market never sell. Total Clarity Wealth Management understands the hesitation to discuss exiting. Will customers leave? Will competitors take advantage? Will key employees leave? That's why they offer confidential planning. Contact Anne-Marie at Total Clarity Wealth Management. Discover what the financial foundation should be to pursue an exit that is satisfying. At some point, you are going to leave your business. Will it be on your terms? Total Clarity can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Anne-Marie is a certified exit planning advisor. Visit TotalClarityBusiness.com. That's TotalClarityBusiness.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking Balance of Nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking Balance of Nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take Balance of Nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
It's 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Eden's at 28 minutes from Lake Cook Road into the junction, 27 back outbound to Lake Cook Road with delays between Montrose and Niles Center. Kennedy Inn, 1 hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The ICAT 1 hour, 390 into the old post office. The Dan Ryan right now at 38 minutes and climbing from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State jamming northbound 83rd toll up through Ogden. Tri-State southbound, an accident, 3 left lanes blocked. It's between Cermak to right before the Hinsdale Oasis where the accident site is being tended to. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A cloudy start today, then some sunshine. The high 40, clear tonight, low 29. Sunny day tomorrow, the high at 49. Increasing cloudiness, mild day on Friday. The high Friday afternoon at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Your next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
So there's one professional sport that we have on good authority that is backing Trump.
Ooh.
It's a real man sport. There's actually probably two. There's probably two professional sports. I'll give you a hint.
I think that's a little misogynistic. It's a real man sport.
Well, there's probably two professional sports where the majority of the athletes back Trump. One's a real man sport. The other is UFC. Give you that hint.
Are we guessing? Can I take?
Yeah, go ahead. Guess.
NASCAR. It's a sport.
No, it's a real man sport.
Oh, well, it takes a man to drive a car like that.
The ultimate man sport.
Lumberjacking.
No.
Fishing.
Ultimate man sport. People out there know. You're
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer. And you could text me the answer at 64636. Type in DA, then a quick. The ultimate man, not football.
What could be perhaps the only sport more manly than UFC?
Oh God. Can I ask Justin? Because he's it's skateboarding.
Yeah, right. It's golf, obviously.
Oh. Please. Oh, all the calories you guys burn valiantly walking down the fairway. Oh, my.
It's a man sport.
You have to bend over. You get work out your hamstrings, bending over to get the ball.
Nobody said anything about exercise. I just said it's the ultimate man sport.
When I think
John
of sports,
Daly,
I think of sweating. So okay.
When I think of man sport, I think of John Daly, who famously said, "I don't think I've ever stepped into a gym because they won't let me smoke there. I just thank God Miller Lite isn't as fattening as most beers. If I cut back on beer, though, I'd look anorexic." That's a man. John Daly sat down with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's had quite a run this week, accompanying the launch of the TCN, the Tucker Carlson Network. Daly sat down with Tucker.
Did he wear funny pants?
He had a manly ensemble.
Oh God, man! I smell men.
And he said this about the 2024 race.
So you're open in your politics. You're pretty direct about it.
Yeah.
I would say.
Where's common sense in our country?
Do you think you've got the majority view among golfers?
Yeah. I think all of us on the tours and everything, we all want Daddy Trump back.
Daddy Trump.
And again, a man's man like Trump. Listen to John Daly talk about playing golf with Trump.
I got to work with his chipping a little bit, but he hits it good. He putts it good. We just got to work on his chipping.
What's wrong with the chipping?
He just got. I keep saying you got to move the ball up. Everybody thinks when you chip, you got to move it back. You actually need to move it up a little bit.
Yeah, true.
If I don't see him for a while, it goes back to that bad habit again.
So when you correct him,
he chips it like Tiger or Phil.
So why not be like full-time Trump golf coach?
I don't think he has the time to play that much golf.
He does seem serious about it.
Oh, he loves it. He's passionate about it. But what I love about him, he plays quick. We go out and play golf. We can have an eights in with him, and we're done in 3 hours.
That's quicker than Ditka.
That's ready golf right there, folks.
I'll tell you that. The other thing there, too, plays fast. Yep. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know about Trump. In fact, that should be a centerpiece of his campaign messaging over the next little less than a year, the next 11 months. I play fast.
When you sponsored my dad and I at Bull Valley, which thank you very much, we plowed through 18 holes.
Yeah, your dad's a fast player because he's a good player.
He just yeah.
And you can be a mediocre player, bad player, as long as you play fast.
Yeah, I hate law. I think we were done in under 2 hours. We played ready golf. If you're ready, go hit it. So much fun.
Now, I mean, just to compare, because I know there may be a few people that are skeptical of golf is a more manly sport than UFC, where the other sport where Trump probably dominates in terms of support among the professional athletes. Really, you think UFC is so manly? Well, Tucker also sat down with UFC founder Dana White and you listen to what Dana White said to Tucker, and then you listen to what John Daly said to Tucker, and you tell me.
Let me tell you what, if you consider yourself a patriot, right? You're a patriot, you should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. Believe me when I tell you.
Wait. I should be boycotting Bud Light.
Gallons of Bud Light. You should have Bud Light drums stacked up in your garage and drinking it right out of the keg. They are way more aligned with you than most of these other beer companies are. That I guarantee you. Take it from somebody who's in the know, who does business with beer companies. You are way more aligned with Bud Light than you are with any other beer company.
I mean, they didn't come into partnership with you by accident.
No.
Obviously.
We had multiple bidders on the table.
Did they seek you out?
We had multiple bidders on the table. They were one of them. And as history has shown me with relationships that I've had with other beer companies, I, who lean more this way, I, who consider myself a patriot, I don't go crazy over the whole patriot thing, but I consider myself a proud American. I'm happy to be an American. I love this country, and you are way more aligned with Anheuser-Busch than you are with other beer companies.
So there you go. You want to go with Dana White and Dylan Mulvaney of UFC, who leans right, or do you want to go with John Daly, who wants Daddy Trump back? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, who drinks Miller Lite.
As opposed to Bud Light, yeah.
And says that he believes nicotine plus caffeine equals protein.
They really say that too?
I love John Daly. It's going to live forever. Len in Highland Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, I just wanted to talk about the Ditka Group because I've caddied for it over 100 times. So you have
I've been played through by it. And when I say played through, I mean steamrolled, as you well know.
Yeah, that a lot of the members weren't happy with that group. But you'd have 6 guys, 2 caddies. You never saw the other caddy the whole round. One guy is on the green, and the next caddy is already 4 caddying. They play in less than 3 hours. No one talks to each other, but you make a lot of money.
How much money are you talking? What'd you get?
No,
you're a gentleman.
A caddy doesn't tell these things. That's
so the first thing
code.
I tell caddies, and I told clerks at the Merc, never tell people what you make. All it does is create jealousy. So I'll never talk about what I made.
Very good.
It was a great group, and less than 3 hours. And when you, like in the fall, when there was only one caddy available, and I was older, it was harder than running a 5-minute mile. It is brutal.
So wait, you caddied at Bobo?
For years.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. Where did I think you were? I thought you were at like North Shore or something. Where else did you caddy?
No, I'm at Briarwood. So when
Briarwood, that's
closed
right.
down,
Briarwood,
and I moved over there, and we're still waiting for you to come to Briarwood.
I'm going to do it this summer. I want to play Briarwood, and I want you to caddy for me, and I'll go
at
caddy
for you.
I'll go at a brisk pace, but it won't be slow, but it won't be Ditka.
Well, the group will be, I think, Colazzo's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who else?
Is that the guy that you know?
No.
And
in Briarwood? No, I don't think so. Oh,
no,
Calderazzo?
he's not a member there. He's a friend of yours. The guy who wants to set it up is a member, but he had him and a retired bear that you know, and that was going to be the group. But I'm still waiting.
Oh, okay. All right. This summer, it's a date there, Len. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Maybe he was going to invite me. He was like, and Amy can come too. I think
it's a manly sport.
Oh, you're so okay. Text message: Yingling is the only real American beer, and that is true. Have you ever had one of those?
Spotted Cow?
Spotted Cow's pretty good too. But have you had a Yingling?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I got introduced to it at Georgia Tech. That's fantastic. I have to go to Indiana and buy it though, but that's all right.
Eric on 88.
Yeah, good morning. I just want to say I thought the most manly sport was women's cycling.
Hey,
pretty good. It's becoming that, isn't it? Yeah.
Another text message. The most manly sport, Dan and Amy, is axe throwing.
No, that's a bar activity. That's not a sport.
It's a sport too. You could do it drunk or sober. So yeah.
can't even smoke when you're doing it because of the smoking bans. But, you watch John Daly play golf, you'll see him smoke a couple of packs.
Now, why doesn't he enter gyms, he said? Because they
can't smoke in them, obviously. By the way, speaking of that, and, you lampoon John Daly's philosophy on life, but let me tell you something. He may outlive you, Amy Jacobson.
Why?
There's a new study out of Finland. So this is from the Scandinavians, your people. I know you're Sweden, but,
Same thing.
Yeah, basically. 11,000 same-sex twins were analyzed between 1975 and 2020. 45-year longitudinal study about exercising.
Oh, no.
The participants reported at the time, and self-reported the time and intensity of their daily physical activity, categorized into 4 groups: sedentary, moderately active, active, and highly active. Overall, researchers found those who exercised the least were about 20% more likely to die over the age of 45 than those who were regularly active.
Okay.
But now John Daly is not sedentary. He plays the manly sport of golf. However, when the researchers filtered for lifestyle factors, including education, BMI, smoking, and alcohol consumption, the number dropped significantly. Then those in the sedentary group were only 7% more likely to die compared to those in the active group, with no additional benefits provided by higher levels of exercise. The study showed that biological aging accelerated for those who exercised too little and too much.
Oh, no.
So the super active, the people like Amy who do like 3 yoga classes and 2 cycling classes a day, and probably pump some iron too, and then play volleyball.
Don't forget the weights and then go coach. Burn some more calories.
As compared to a physical specimen like John Daly, who's moderately active. You may want to re-examine your life and maybe be a little bit more like John Daly.
Another text message. Yeah, another text message. The most manly sport, Dan and Amy, is rugby.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal. Bill in Cape Coral, Florida.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was a caddy going back, and he got 2 quick stories. He got one time he caddied for Dick Butkus, Ed Obradovich, Mike Ditka, and there was a 4th guy, I forget, but he was very nervous because he was caddying for all these big guys.
A lot of artificial joints in that group, yeah.
So Ditka tees off, hits a tree, the ball hits the tree and breaks a windshield on a Cadillac. So my buddy John says, excuse me, sir, you just broke a window there. He goes, yeah, it's my car. So he ends up breaking. The other one, he caddied for Ron Sano. Right, it was right after that famous slide where he slid into third base about 20 feet short.
Mm-hmm.
And they were teasing him on the course. So they said, hey, kid, to my buddy John, he goes, hey, kid, race him to that sand trap over there. So John said, I was thinking to myself, should I beat him or should I let him win? But he has some great stories of caddying for some big-time people at those courses. It's always fun golfing with him. He has great stories. So.
Yeah.
I love golf. Down here having golf today and yesterday I played, so have a good
That's
day.
beautiful. Fairways and greens, Bill. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I mean, caddying was the best growing up. Caddying at Chicago Golf, I got to caddy for a lot of sports, professional athletes in Chicagoland.
Didn't you caddy for Michael Jordan?
I did, back in the day when we had professional sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, Fensick, Doug Wilson, Savard, Stan Mikita was a great golfer. So it's a ton of fun. It's a man's sport, the manliest. Danny and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I want to tell you that Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift for someone you love. I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews. I love that they're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Well, Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? Listen, I've been a customer of Roland's Jewelers for a long time. You should too. They're so impressive. Their staff is expertly trained. I encourage you to visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or visit rolandsjewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, rolandsjewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this holiday, just like I do.
And guess what, Dan? Real men order pajamagrams for their girlfriends or their spouses. And right now, you want to get on that Smooth Seduction Satin package. What it is a Smooth Seduction Satin nightie and a robe, plus a free satin eye mask, all wrapped up in an elegant keepsake bag. You heard that right. 4 gifts delivered right to your door, ready to go under the tree. Silky, sensuous, glides over the skin, designated to make her feel amazing and drive you wild with desire. But don't wait. They sell out every year. Seriously. Go to pajamagram.com today. I know how you guys love to procrastinate, but do it today. Pajamagram.com and tell them Dan and Amy sent you.
Are you a driver of a Ford Powerstroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford Powerstroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford Powerstroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
All right. Met somebody yesterday and she said, I just love Balance of Nature because I feel good that I'm doing something for myself, not getting enough fruits and veggies on their own. And that's why this particular woman takes Balance of Nature. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition, real science. And people who do take it do say they have increased energy and the ability to keep doing the things they love even as they age. So just remember, when you give your body the best possible fuel, you have more energy. You're stronger. Maybe you think more quickly, too. Try it for yourself. 800-246-8751. That is the number to call. 800-246-8751. We're back to using discount code Chicago, or simply go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago. Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner. And thank you so much for your generosity.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. You have a true partnership with a team that is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago.
Signature Bank is wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Napleton Mazda of Naperville would like to invite you to come in for a test drive during the Season of Inspiration event going on now through the end of the month. Take advantage of remarkable savings like 0% APR financing for 60 months on a brand new 2024 Mazda CX-5. Save on over 700 new Mazdas at Napleton Mazda of Naperville and napervillemazda.com. Offer to qualified buyers through Mazda Financial Services. 0% APR equals $16.67 per $1,000 financed. Expires 12/31/23.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, I caddied for the Punky QB, too.
Oh,
Jim
you did?
McMahon. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
I was
Was
just
he
thinking
good?
back to all the athletes I caddied for.
Was he a good tipper? Was he a good guy?
Yeah, he was cool. He was. He didn't really exactly fit the decorum at Chicago golf,
Yeah.
but
Did he have golf shoes on, or did he go barefoot?
yeah, he was forced to comply with the standards. Yes, but otherwise he would not have. That was pretty clear. Good times, good times. All right, coming up at 8:38, we'll get Carol Markowitz's reaction to the report that Biden was critical of Bibi and the quote-unquote indiscriminate bombing that Israel is engaged in. That's at 8:38. Carol
Yes.
Markowitz from the New York Post.
Changing teams. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's the one and only Mike Scott.
8:31, sunshine and 24 degrees. Tesla recalling more than 2 million vehicles to fix a defective system that's supposed to ensure drivers are paying attention when they use autopilot. The recall comes after a 2-year investigation by regulators into a series of crashes that happened while autopilot was partially automated and the system was in use. Some of those accidents were deadly. The Israeli military says Palestinian terrorists ambushed troops in a dense Gaza City neighborhood, killing at least 9. Fighting comes as Hamas is putting up some stiff resistance in areas that had been pounded by airstrikes. House Republicans are expected to vote today to authorize an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. House Speaker Mike Johnson is claiming the matter is a legal decision rather than a political one. Longtime New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick is reportedly leaving the organization at the end of the season. Belichick led the Patriots to 6 Super Bowl wins over 2 decades. Several issues are on the agenda for the Chicago City Council meeting later this morning. Council members could vote today on a change that would delay the start of so-called mandatory paid leave for workers who live in the city by 6 months. Father of the alleged Highland Park parade shooting suspect is expected to be released today after a short stay in jail. Robert Cremo Jr. was sentenced to 60 days last month after reaching a plea deal. That deal made him eligible for day-to-day good credit. He'll serve less than 1 month. Blackhawks gave up 4 unanswered goals in a 4-1 loss to the Oilers in Edmonton. Connor Bedard did score. They visit Miami tomorrow night. Reggie Jackson led the Nuggets with 25 in a 114-106 takedown of the Bulls. The News is a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. The Answer. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager knows the Democrats' kryptonite.
The whole attack on Musk as being anti-Semitic or allowing hate on Twitter or now X is to shut him down because the left always suppresses free speech. There's no example of the left being in power, whether in a country or at an institution, and not shutting down dissent.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
The holidays. Back again. Visiting with family and friends this time of year can bring great joy and happiness. But it also can unfortunately bring stress, hypertension, and overeating, all of which can make your blood pressure skyrocket. High blood pressure is one of the world's leading risk factors for death and disability, and often leads to stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. That's why Chicago's very own Ira Antelis developed 120 Life, a juice drink and powder that lowers your blood pressure naturally. I'm drinking it, I love it, and it works like a charm for me. And for those with diabetes, the powdered form of 120 Life has just 1 gram of sugar. If you suffer from high blood pressure around the holidays or whenever, give 120 Life a try. It's a fantastic alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. Order today at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout. Save 15%. From all of us at 560 AM, my friends at 120 Life, have a wonderful holiday season, and please don't overeat.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
It's 8:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Staples stores. Staples Holiday Deals mean amazing savings for the holiday season. Right now, save 50% on custom holiday cards and invites, as well as custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. Have yourself a merry little holiday deal at Staples. Eden's 21 Lake Cook Road to the junction on the inbound side, outbound 25 to Lake Cook Road. Kennedy Inn, it's an hour from O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. Eisenhower, it's 65 minutes, 390 to the old post office, while the Stevenson right now stands at 55 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Stop and go on the inbound Dan Ryan between 95th and the Skyway, 32 minutes from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Partly to mostly sunny and a high near 40. Currently, partly cloudy and 24. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know, people have been critical of the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, with respect to his performance yesterday, because she was clearly just reading scripted answers to obvious, if not planted, questions.
Yeah, but all those journalists who submitted questions to him should be outed, because you don't do that.
Unless you're down in Brazil slipping questions to Hillary, of course.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Hey, look, when he goes off script, when he doesn't have answers to read, statements to recite, this happens.
But we know this year's Hanukkah is different. It's been 65 years since the deadliest day of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. 65 years.
What? You mean 65 days?
Yeah, 65 days. 65
slipping,
days, years. Yeah, it seems like it's been 65 years since he was elected. For more on President Biden vis-a-vis Israel, particularly the report that at a fundraiser he suggested that Netanyahu and his government was losing popular support because of what he characterized reportedly as indiscriminate bombing in Gaza. Pleased to be joined by Carol Markowitz, columnist for the New York Post, co-author of the book Stolen Youth, How Radicals Are Erasing Innocence and Indoctrinating a Generation. She also hosts the eponymous Carol Markowitz Show on iHeartRadio. Carol, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Indiscriminate bombing, is that what Israel's doing?
I mean, that's ridiculous. Anybody who is paying any attention to this war knows that Israel is taking insane precautions that few other countries would take to make sure that civilian casualties are limited. which is especially hard to do when you're fighting an enemy who wants more civilian casualties on their own side. So that idea, and it's really a noxious one because the president should not be spreading Hamas propaganda in that way. They want more civilians to die on the Palestinian side so that they could show the world, look what Israel's doing, they're so terrible. But Israel is going above and beyond to ensure that fewer civilians die. And they've been doing that the whole time. They've been doing that for years. They've been absolutely engaged in keeping as many civilians safe as possible, which is really in contrast to Hamas slaughtering civilians on October 7th and in so many other situations in the last, decade plus.
So, Carol, you're the mother of 3 kids. You're Jewish, and I read your article about you wanting to protect your kids from the fear and the rage. But how do you explain these pro-Palestinian rallies? Because I don't know about you, but here in Chicago, now they're bringing out Hamas flags, the green and white Hamas flags. And that's that's bold. That's very provocative.
Yeah. I would say that I have been honest with my kids. My kids are 13, 10, and 8. So the 8-year-old really is doesn't know what's going on yet. But the 13 and 10, I've been honest with them, for a while that, look, you're going to see stuff. You're going to encounter people who don't like you because of who you are. And that's just the way the world is. And you're going to have to just live with it and deal with it and move forward. We live in Florida. I talk about that a lot. We haven't seen that kind of behavior in any large scope in Florida. But even in New York, before we left, 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, I told my Jewish family at Thanksgiving that I was worried about the state of Jews in New York. And of course, now they think that I'm some sort of, a future teller. But I saw it coming. Orthodox Jews, the Jews that look visibly Jewish, were getting beat up in the street. And I saw that nobody cared. Nobody was coming to save them. And that the only reason that we were safe is that we're secular Jews. We don't look outwardly Jewish. And that's no way to live. So I tell my kids the truth as much as possible. I try to shield them from the details. I don't want them to know about the mass rapes or the way that the children were kidnapped in Israel. But I do tell them that, look, bad people exist and it's part of life.
Yeah, and we haven't just seen this, how the world really is, manifest itself on college campuses in the Ivy League. We also had pro-Hamas protesters take over a school board meeting in Edina, Minnesota. Edina, Minnesota is, a haven for identitarian politics. So, yeah, and what's a school board supposed to do about what's going on in the Middle East? Not much. Right. But that's not the point. The point is it's a show of power. Who's in charge? What the the enforcement of opinion when it comes to this matter. And we also saw something, too, I wanted you to comment on. Just, we're focused on the college campuses, and that deserves a lot of attention, no question. But, I mean, some of the things that are surprising even to me, who I think has a pretty good handle on just how ugly the world is, this Polish member of parliament who took a fire extinguisher to extinguish a menorah in a government building and got some of the fire extinguisher foam and stuff on somebody a woman who tried to stop him. I mean, that is the sort of lunacy that is afoot out there.
Yeah. Well, I was born in the Soviet Union, so Polish anti-Semitism is not exactly shocking to me.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right that it's amazing how brazen these people have become. You talk about, what is the school board supposed to do and that kind of thing. That's absolutely the question, because this is what leftists do. In our book, Stolen Youth, we chart how they bring in these far left ideas into our schools, and not just college campuses. They start in kindergarten. In Brooklyn, for example, they had schools march against climate change. Like, what is my kindergartner supposed to do about climate change? It's literally irrelevant to their lives. And so you have this where they force feed this idea that you must be protesting, that you must be speaking out for their leftist causes very young, and they're starting it ever younger, and we're going to continue to see it. I can think of a number of different examples of protests throughout the country where they engage elementary school children in this. So I think that we are heading towards where people see what is going on, the big picture of what's been happening in our country. I hope sooner rather than later, and I hope people fight to have their kids not be exposed to this kind of thing.
When we talk about what's happening on college campuses, just to extend the conversation, you mentioned your kids' ages. In 5 or 6 years, when your kids are ready to go to college, is the Ivy League going to be an option?
Well, this is a conversation that's happening in Jewish homes, I can tell you, all over the place. I don't know. Again, we live in Florida. I think University of Florida has handled this among the very, very best. Ben Sass is the president of the university. His statement was no nonsense. They have not tolerated any Hamas protests on campus. It's been handled very well. So I think for someone like me, we're looking at University of Florida thinking this is probably the future. It's disappointing, though, because I don't think the Jewish kids should be removed from Ivy League campuses because of these deranged lunatics. It's sad that a lot of Jewish kids are going to be passing on Ivy Leagues, and that's going to create even more leftist atmosphere on campus where they feel like they can do whatever they want. Look, they've forced out these Jewish kids. They made Jewish kids not apply. I think all of that is scary for us as a country. What I talk about a lot is you think it's happening to Jews only, but it's coming for us all. For example, menorah lightings that have been canceled, and then you have Gavin Newsom canceling Christmas tree lighting. All of that we're only the canaries in the coal mine. There's going to be far more, you're going to see things like the Christmas tree lightings being canceled because other points of view are simply not tolerated under this leftist idea, and Christmas is absolutely going to be out.
It's sort of like the reverse of the famous Martin Niemöller observation. First they came and then they came for me.
Yes.
It's sort of the reverse of that. First they came for the Jew, right? And then it's all the way down, right?
That's right.
I wanted to get your reaction to something else, too. I know you're no longer a New Yorker, but I know you also maintain a nexus there and knowledge of what's happening. The handling of the matter of migrants in New York, Eric Adams is continuing to express his frustration with the lack of money being drop-shipped from D.C. to stand up more shelters and just provide them more money to provide the provisions for all those who are coming. What's your handle on where that stands right now? Because, of course, in Chicago, we're going through a smaller scale version of the same thing.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I give Mayor Adams zero credit for his immigration views. He has not moderated on immigration at all. He's not saying close the border. He's not saying let's get this thing under control. He's only saying New York needs more money to handle this. To me, that is a Band-Aid on a gaping wound, and he is getting way too much credit for being some kind of voice of sanity among the Democrats, where I don't think he's that at all. I think he's a typical liberal Democrat who is saying we just need more money, we just need more funding, just give us more money. The problem will not be solved with money. We are taking in an insane number of people who are crossing illegally, who are not here because they're refugees. They're here because they want a job. And look, I'm an immigrant. I'm not anti-immigration, but there should be a process. And I was reminiscing a few days ago with a friend of mine who also was born in the Soviet Union about the process that we went through. Somebody had to guarantee that they would be there to collect us and to take care of us until we got on our feet. It wasn't government sponsored. And the idea that we're supposed to be just funding all of these people who are coming across the border, it's lunacy, and we simply don't have the money for that.
Are you surprised that Adams hasn't pivoted at all, given that polling out earlier this week had his approval rating at 28%? So he's obviously suffering politically, even in New York.
Well, it's funny that he's suffering politically because, again, he's not really deviating from the leftist argument about, to have open borders. He's not saying let's close these borders. I think he's just rubs people the wrong way.
Well, but do you think there'll ever be a time when he'll say just the breaking point and say we need to close down the borders? Because there's got to be some brave politician somewhere that's going to do it. But what do your friends say that are still in New York? I mean, how
they think it's a disaster. They think it's largely a disaster. So many services are being cut. They see, just the decay around the city. Even my most liberal friends are like, this is unsustainable. And they're hoping for a cash infusion to make it all go away, but they admit that this is a giant issue.
Well, and it exacerbates another giant issue in New York and Chicago and every major metropolitan area with more than a couple 100,000 people that's governed by the same ideology in different human form, which is public safety, right?
Yeah. They have very little expectation of public safety anymore. I think that they've gotten to a place where they're just accepting that, chaos is happening on their streets, and that's just something that they have to live with. I wish that more New Yorkers would make the connection between the policies that they supported and the results of this. I don't feel like they're there yet. They're still arguing about Donald Trump and talking about abortion as if these are issues that affect their city. They're not. And they're going to have to face reality. I would love for them to do it sooner rather than later. I have family in the city still. I would love to see them realize that the policies that they push, the politicians that they support, who support these insane policies that don't work, are the result. This is what happens. What's happening on your streets is the result of that.
Carol Markowitz, columnist for the New York Post, co-author of the book Stolen Youth, How Radicals Are Erasing Innocence and Indoctrinating a Generation, and also host of the Carol Markowitz Show on iHeartRadio. Carol, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts, knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
A lot of people donating to our Food for the Poor campaign, and there's one person wrote into the station, my gift, Dan and Amy, is only a small part of a much larger effort to save lives in Haiti and Latin America. I am grateful for the life I have been gifted in the United States, and I wish to share some of that with those who struggle. That's just one person who helped us out as we tried to end starvation for children in Latin America and the Caribbean and Haiti. Food for the Poor is the real deal. They've been around for more than 40 years in 17 countries, and they've fed millions of people. Trust me, I saw it firsthand, and they provide more than $15 billion in aid. So what we're asking for is a one-time donation of $80. You could feed 2 children for an entire year. Or how about $320? You can feed 8 children for 1 year. That's the impact your gift can have. So to make a gift of any amount, $40, $10, whatever you can give would be appreciated. 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. But there's other ways to give, right, Dan?
Business benefactor program. And again, we want to thank individual donors. We also want to thank businesses. We can't thank you enough. Businesses who've signed up to the business benefactor program, like Earthworks and Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, John Cass at johncassnews.com, Morrison Security, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, Brewster Machining, Second Option Health Solutions, and so many more. To join them in the business benefactor program and to benefit your business as well as benefiting those kids and families that are near starvation in places like Haiti, and join the business benefactor program. Here's how it works. You make a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And we here at AM560 will provide you 40 one-minute commercials to air on this station. That's 40 one-minute commercials that air on our airwaves. Prime broadcast hours, Monday to Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., the broadcasting day during the week. It's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio for your business. And at the same time, you, through your business, will be providing life-saving food for more than 62 children in Haiti for an entire year. To become a business benefactor, you just call our general sales manager. Her name is Ann Jeanette. Her number, 847-472-8951. Again, that's Ann Jeanette at 847-472-8951 to join the business benefactor program.
Would you go to court without a lawyer when the other guy is lawyered up? Or are you going to go it alone and learn law and procedure as you go? When you have an insurance claim for your home or business, it's the same thing.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company.
Insurance companies will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. Not you.
If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%, and we could do the same for you. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking Balance of Nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking Balance of Nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take Balance of Nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious. It works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I love police spoof sitcoms. Police Squad, of course, Leslie Nielsen. Angie Tribeca, Rashida Jones, really good. And so is Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Andre Braugher and, why am I blanking on his name, from Saturday Night Live, Andy Samberg.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. And Andre Braugher played the captain of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine precinct, and he unfortunately passed away young at the age of 61 yesterday. And he was just...
2-minute stations.
He was just excellent, like as this emotionless, technocratic captain. And so just remembering he was a serious actor, dramatic actor too, but he was just brilliant in this comedy.
You look chipper, Captain. You have a fun weekend? There was a small fire in my home. I lost many photo albums of treasured memories. I'm devastated. All my breakups have been completely mutual. This is the best possible option for both of us.
Agreed.
Take care. That was the end of an 8-year relationship.
From now on, I'm going to be 15% more forthcoming on personal details and 5% more physically affectionate.
And I will adjust in kind while also implementing a 12% increase in impromptu communication.
Oh, Raymond.
That was a conversation with his mom, that last bite. It's just great. I love that show. So in tribute to Andre Braugher, if you haven't checked out Brooklyn Nine-Nine, please do so.
All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's jump into that newsroom. For news here at home and around the world, the one and only Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Danny Solis takes the stand in the Burke trial, and closing arguments are now expected. A teen and a man killed in a drive-by shooting in Chicago Lawn. A man hit and killed by a semi fleeing police on Chicago's west side. Former CPS teacher is accused of sexually abusing 3 students. We'll hear from attorneys handling that case. The vehicle of a missing teen found in a Vernon Hills retention pond. As you heard Dan and Amy talk about, Chicago native Andre Braugher is dead at the age of 61. The Bulls reveal their inaugural Ring of Honor class and then fall to the Nuggets, while the Blackhawks lose to the Oilers. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Hunter Biden shows up and speaks out. I'm Dave Anthony.